to the Flat Earth debate. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. How you doing? I hope you've had a good start to the week. We're back with a Monday night debate, and tonight we've got a really good one. We have someone who says they're a doctor but really isn't, and they're going to try and convince us that the earth is flat and explain how their application that they have developed absolutely destroys the globe. I want to thank everyone for being here. I hope you are going to enjoy the stream. The last hour of this stream will be Q&A for Steve and Alonzo, so make sure you get those chats in. I tried to get to all super chats and all tags, but obviously super chats will be read first. So if you would like to ask Steve and Alonzo a question, make sure you get those super chats in. There is a goal there that you may want to pay attention to, a very important one. Yeah, so that's what's happening today. Let you know, on the 20th, I will be over on Sarah the Raging Tomatoes channel, debating on a very fun topic: is God evil? Now, obviously, I don't think God exists, but if he does exist, then yes, he's fucking evil. So look out for that. Anyway, let's get the good doctor on to say hello. Stephen, welcome to the channel. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you, Craig, for having me on. It's an honor to be here. I'm a huge fan of you, MC2, and Globy McGlobeface. You guys have a knowledgeable representation of the globe side, so I'm very looking forward to discussing with you. For the audience that don't know me, I am Dr. Stephen Alonzo of the Flat Earth University. I have been studying Flat Earth for roughly 5 years now, and then for the last 2 years I became comfortable enough to start teaching it at an academic level, representing what I would describe are more of the senior level topics. For example, I don't deny the 24-hour sun, I don't deny the South Celestial Pole, and I believe the flat earth model requires and predicts the force of gravity. This has made me a controversial figure in the flat earth community, but again, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear.
Okay, wonderful. So I do have to call you out straight away, really, with the whole doctor thing, because you're not a doctor, Stephen, and it is very, very dishonest to call yourself a doctor. Why do you do that when you know that that isn't true?
Well, how do we define doctor? For example,
we define an academic doctor as someone who has got a doctorate from an accredited, academic institution. Accredited academic institution that has to have alumni that are peer reviewed, that have to do independent research, and have the accreditation from governing bodies to be able to award academic titles. Like myself, I have 2 bachelor's degree. Because I went to accredited universities at the University of the West of England and Edinburgh University, and I worked very hard and got those 2 degrees. You've never been to an actual university to study and get a bachelor's, a master's, and then a doctorate. And I know many, many doctors, academic doctors, who have worked extremely hard to get their qualifications and become who they are. And it is very disrespectful to all the actual doctors out there to do what Stephen, is a blatant lie.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure. I get where you're coming from. So to clarify, I don't claim to hold government accreditations. My degree is privately accredited through the Journal of Geocentric Cosmology. And
But
then the
that's not an
second,
actual degree then. It's just something you're saying is a degree. It's like awarding yourself a
oh,
participation trophy. You do not have the academic accreditation to award any titles. You do not have the ability to award yourself a doctorate, to call yourself a doctor. That is an official title that you are co-opting and taking when you have not earned it. And it is extremely dishonest. And the fact that you would actually introduce yourself as Dr. Stephen Alonzo straight away shows that you aren't here in any good kind of faith. You're here to lie to people, Stephen.
so I'm not aware of any legal regulations overseeing private accreditations. And the second
Oh, there's
point I was
many
going
of
to,
them. For instance, the American governing body, literally shows. I can't remember the exact name of it, but they are officially given the ability by the American government to give these accreditations, and they can attribute fines and other punishments to people that award themselves doctors and give themselves the title doctors in official capacity, which, Stephen, you have done on many, many occasions. It is actually something that could get you into legal trouble. So I find it extremely disrespectful. And the thing is, Stephen, I don't want to harp on this, but I want you to know that I know and that everybody else knows that you are a liar.
so the second point I was going to say, does it matter the field? For example, my
Yes,
doctorate degree is in geocentric cosmology. I'm
there's
not
no such
claiming to
thing.
have
You've made that up.
science.
Let's be clear. There's no such thing. There's no official courses in geocentric cosmology. There is no official accredited institution that has the ability to award that as a doctorate or any kind of course, Stephen. So, no, you are lying with the whole thing because you made up a fake university and then awarded yourself a fake degree. It's like creating your own event, coming last in it, and still giving yourself a trophy. It's
Which is why it
dishonest,
matters how
it's
we.
lying, and you know it is. I don't want to harp on about this, but I wanted that to be the start of this. So anyone
I
watching
don't
this
believe I'm
straight
lying.
away sees that you, Stephen, you are only here to lie to people. You have started with a lie, and everybody knows that it's a lie, and we fully expect you to continue with lies. So I just wanted you to
I
be
do
aware of that.
understand where you're coming from for sure. I would hope no one would feel they're competing against me when my
No one,
field
no,
is.
no, no. You don't have the intellectual capacity or, frankly, anything to compete with anybody with any intelligence or actual degrees or accreditation. Nobody in the field of science takes you seriously, Stephen. The only thing they
Then how
do
could they be
is they
effective?
call you a bit of a dick because you steal the title doctor that they have worked nearly a decade to attain. It's disgusting, it's a lie, and everybody sees what you are doing, Stephen. And the fact that you came here and the very first thing you did on my channel was tell a lie, I don't think that's very respectful. And I want you to, I don't know if you say you've watched my channel, so I'm sure you are aware of my rule that I treat people with the respect that they give. And the fact that you came here and straight away lied to me shows that you don't intend to come here and give me any respect. So we'll see how this goes, but it's a very good chance that you'll be speaking to FTFE rather than Craig.
Okay.
Just so you're aware. I know you're a liar, Stephen, because the very first thing you did on my channel was tell a lie. And that's very disrespectful. So,
But I don't believe it's a lie.
strike. It doesn't matter if that's another lie because you know it is a lie. You've just told me two lies, Stephen. Don't pretend that you think you're an actual doctor because you don't have an accredited institution that
I don't
awarded
claim
that to you.
I never once claimed to
If you
have. For
say you're a
example,
doctor, the implication there is that you have a doctorate from an accredited institution. Otherwise, you don't get to use that title. You don't get to say doctor and make it mean something else. You call yourself doctor, that means you are giving the implication that you have something awarded to you from an accredited institution when you know damn well that is not true, Stephen, and that is not fair. It is disrespectful and you should stop doing it.
interesting. No, I'll take your words of advice more seriously
It's
and
not words of
perhaps
advice, it's
better
just a
way
fact,
to.
okay? It's a
Because I assume
disrespectful,
that
disgusting thing.
when people know that it's from the Flat Earth University, it should be very obvious that it's not
Well, yeah,
publicly.
absolutely. Everybody that sees it's from the Flat Earth University goes, oh, so this person is lying twice. He's made up a fake university and given himself a fake doctorate. We're all aware of exactly what it is, Stephen. But the fact that you introduced yourself on my channel as Dr. Stephen Alonzo is a lie.
That's how you introduce me.
I know
the
it's
title
a lie. Everybody watching knows it's a lie. And now for the first 10 minutes of this show, they will see that you have started by being a liar. Sorry, it's just what it is. I'm going to call it as I see it. I don't appreciate it, Stephen, but we're going to continue the conversation and maybe you can put some truth into your words. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, your opinion is well taken.
Opinion? No. Fact.
Well, it's subjective. We can argue that.
No, it's not subjective. It's an objective fact. It is the way it works. You have lied about your title. You have created a fake university to award yourself a fake degree so that you can lie and call yourself a doctor when you know you are not. We're not going to go on about this anymore, Stephen, but everybody for the first 10 minutes of this can see that that is the case.
Okay, yeah, we can go to the next topic. I'm ready.
Yeah. So, obviously you're a flat earther, so why don't you just spend a few minutes explaining to everybody why you're a flat earther and what evidence you have for your case?
Yeah, so I guess
I will yield you the floor for the next 5 minutes, okay?
Yeah, I can give a quick little 5-minute overview. So I guess growing up, I was taught the standard heliocentric globe model and never really got exposed to anything else. So once I got older and started studying globe science as well, for example, how does a solar eclipse work? Not a lot of people are aware of this, but in the standard high school, we only have a very brief overview of cosmology. So it's very easy to fall for the mainstream understanding. And once I got a better understanding of how it actually works, I started realizing that the flat Earth model kind of has a more realistic representation of how our universe actually works. Now, for evidence, I want to clarify that positive proof is very different from evidence. And to also clarify that in science, hypotheses are always open to falsification, yours and mine as well. But I believe at the current state of our scientific understanding, it all points towards the flat Earth model representing, you could say, the more realistic, more accurate, more by chance of how the universe works. So I guess there's 4 points I could probably go over quickly. The first would be the sun and the moon appearing the same size. If you want to believe in the globe heliocentric model, you have to believe that just by chance, the sun is 400 times farther away, while the moon is 400 times smaller. So they just appear the same size. And to make it worse, under globe theory, you don't really have creation. So you have to rely on Big Bang cosmology to make that chance work. And to me, that doesn't seem realistic. I believe in creation, and I found that, yeah, the sun and moon probably are the exact same size. Let's see, a second point, I guess in regards to faking of space, I would say that if space travel was possible, they wouldn't always have to fake it. Now, this goes back to the early moon landings. It could go back to Elon Musk putting a red Tesla Roadster in space, even the recent Katy Perry trip. Let me see. I made a couple notes as well about the other, you could say, evidences. Let me just see. Yeah, this is a really good one. The sun's ground position, which is objectively true. We both agreed on the ground position of the sun, no matter what model you believe in. But you find that the farthest north the sun goes is about 23.44 degrees of latitude. And the farthest south it goes is also negative 23.44 degrees of south latitude. And coincidentally, we find that the globe model uses that as its tilt. That's an additional step to make the globe model work, which I believe is a consequence of wrapping the real life flat Earth around a ball. It's essentially reverse engineered from the flat Earth model, or you could say at the very basic, it's reverse engineered from the observer centric observations. Both me and you can go outside and confirm where the sun is, do a celestial declination calculation, and confirm that ground position. We all agree on that. But I find it weird that the globe uses that as its tilt. And I guess for the final point, no spherical rotation of the moon. When I look at the moon, I see it rotating like a flat disk. You can argue concave or convex at best because there is like a little sides that appear more. But the point is, though, science operates on falsification. If we can falsify the globe, spherical moon, it then points us towards a more realistic and accurate model, which I believe is the flat Earth model. So yeah, that's 1 minute left for me.
Wonderful. None of those were evidence, but I guess we can go through them. Just so you're aware, there's no such word as evidences. It's just evidence. Sun and moon, same size. Well, they don't even appear to be the same size. That's why during an eclipse you can actually see the ring of fire around the outside, because the sun appears slightly larger. But I mean, I could do some magic trickery with my camera for a second if you want, and you know. So these are clearly, you know, the diameter of these circles are not the same. But you know, what if I did this, right? And now we get the diameters of the circle to be the same. Look at that. They're now the same size.
I agree.
Right, do they appear to be the same size, Stephen?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not, are they? Right? I can hold my thumb up and cover that entire car that's across the road. Is my thumb bigger than the car, Stephen?
No.
Right?
So as I said, I understand the globe model being 400 times farther away and 400 times smaller. I don't disagree with the theoretical globe model. I'm saying that it doesn't seem realistic that just by chance that's what we have to believe in.
To be clear, so what you said is true. To be clear, Stephen, that is simply personal incredulity. Incredulity. That's all it is. It's you going, well, that doesn't make sense to me, right?
No, I said it makes sense. I said the chance of it happening through Big Bang cosmology is not realistic.
What are the odds?
Well, I don't know. It'd be astronomical. How?
Well, how do you know it's not? How do you know that it's unrealistic in Big Bang cosmology, which is wrong? We have to talk about that anyway. What makes you say that it's unrealistic? Do you have evidence that it's unrealistic? Have you checked from other planets to look at the sizes of their moons compared to the stars?
Well, no, I believe in creation, which makes it a lot more realistic. We would see that they are the same size and the same distance away. That is a more simpler approach.
They're not the same size. The sun appears slightly larger than the moon. That's why we can see around the outside of it. So they don't even appear the same size.
Well, not with the solar filter, though. You're talking about during an eclipse.
No, even with the solar filter, the sun is slightly larger than the moon. It never covers it 100%. There is always a slight bit of the sun available. It's like 0.034% of difference. The sun and the moon do not appear the same size. They appear slightly different. But it's just how it is. And if you don't believe it, then we just look at all the evidence to it, like radar measurements to both the moon and the sun. In 1964, they used an extremely powerful radar to literally measure the distance to the sun using a pingback. And using the same radar, they've measured the distance to the moon and many, many other planets. And that's all been verified many, many other ways. So just because to you it seems unrealistic, it's not. The universe is infinite, so the odds are, you know, probably pretty good. Just because to you it seems unrealistic, it is a you problem. Let's be clear. That's just a you problem because you don't believe the evidence.
Correct. That's why I believe the flat Earth model. This is my reasons for believing the flat Earth is more accurate.
But the flat Earth has to come with a whole bunch of crazy assumptions with no reason or evidence behind them. Why does the sun and the moon float above us in the sky? What is causing the acceleration of both? Because the sun would have to accelerate it significantly throughout the year compared to what it is at the start and the end of the year. What causes that acceleration and deceleration? What forces are being applied? There's so many random assumptions you have to stack on top of, well, the sun and the moon look the same size, therefore the Earth is flat, to go with that as the more logical model. You're missing all the steps. Yeah, I'm willing
to discuss all that.
You're missing all the steps. You're just going, well, it looks like that, therefore it is, whilst ignoring all of the evidence and then lying to people about it.
Well, no, I thought of all the same objections you did as well, and we can discuss those. The rotation, for example, I believe all celestial objects are physically on the dome firmament, and I believe the dome firmament...
we can stop you there because there is no dome firmament. We have checked. It doesn't exist. We've pointed radar up and there's no dome there. I personally know people that have sent up probes to the edge of space, didn't see a firmament. There has never been any evidence ever of a dome firmament, so no, things cannot be in the firmament. But you do know that the moon does rotate once, right? It does actually rotate.
No, so rotating like a disc is not the same as rotating.
No. It actually rotates. The moon rotates on its own axis.
In the globe model, yes, theoretically, but I'm talking
not
about
theoretically. In the globe, for us, the moon does rotate on its own axis every 28 once a month. But it's also the same time that the moon orbits the Earth.
Yeah, it's tidal lock. I'm aware of that.
Right. Well, that's not necessarily tidal locking is what has caused that. But the fact is that the moon, you're saying there's no rotation to the moon. Well, that's objectively false. Once a month, the moon rotates.
But how do we observe that?
We don't observe it because the moon is also going around us at the same time. So as it rotates, it goes around us, which keeps the same face pointing towards us.
Well, I agree with you.
The moon absolutely rotates on its own axis. So once again, your entire premise is false because the moon does rotate.
You're assuming the globe model is true. I agree that under the globe model, the moon does spherically rotate. I'm talking about what we can actually validate. Correct. From our perspective and our observations, it does not rotate.
No.
I agree with the theoretical concept.
You claimed that the moon does not rotate in the globe
Correct,
model.
It does not.
But
no, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. That's what you said. You said in the globe model, the fact that there's no rotation to the moon is a problem because every other thing rotates. Right, that's what you said.
No, I never said that in the globe model.
Well, you did.
I agree that in the globe model, the moon would rotate.
Okay, and it does.
No, but there's no way to know that, though. That's what I'm saying.
We've checked.
How?
We've been there. We've got satellites in space. We've used radar.
But that's government, though, which is just fake.
Not just government.
We have to appeal to their authority.
Governments aren't fake. Governments are a real thing.
So government's fake.
We'll get to the whole faking space because that is something that hasn't happened and is a lie that you are pushing.
Because it would be different if people like me and you could send a space probe up and try to replicate. That's the whole thing about science. Can we replicate it?
Just earn a bunch of money and do it then. Why are you being so lazy?
Well, it's priced out. We don't have the money to do that.
Stop being so lazy and earn that money.
I don't think that's realistic to randomly get a million.
I'm sorry. Is because you aren't good enough to go and earn a bunch of money to be able to do a thing means that space is fake. Why haven't you invested in stocks, Stephen?
No, it means we can't replicate.
Stephen, how old are you?
I'm 31.
Right. So why haven't you spent the last 10 years investing in stocks like Rolls-Royce?
Because you need to have a lot of money to invest to get a return.
Rolls-Royce shares are £8.16 each at the moment. 10 years ago, they were £2.14.
So if I buy one stock,
why have you not been investing in small stocks?
Because I don't have the capital.
So you haven't had $10 spare around once a month.
No, but $10 spare doesn't get you millions of dollars.
Well, actually, if you invest $10 like a month in Rolls-Royce for say 10 years, with the increases that you've had, you'd probably have thousands of dollars.
No, I agree with that. I have thousands of dollars, but I don't have the millions to do that. To have a lot of money, you need to have capital to invest. So, very basic example.
So why didn't you get that capital by working
on 100,000? Because I'm still young. I'm only 31.
But you could have had 2 jobs and been earning more. So you're just complaining that someone else has got more money than you. Therefore, space is fake. Elon is government. Elon Musk is not government. Jeff Bezos is not government.
They're elites, though, and that's the same thing. It goes into
They're rich.
The Freemason societies and so the elite, celebrity.
Just so you're aware, Freemasons are nothing to do with controlling the world or anything like that. I know this for a fact because I know many Freemasons. I've been in temples and spoken to them and been at charity days. Freemasons are simply a boys' drinking club that do charity. That is it.
I agree with you in terms of the Blue Lodge. You're talking about the Blue Lodge. My family's
all Freemasons. All Freemasons.
But once
There's
you get
no
into
secret society of Freemasons. I don't want to hear lies. Okay.
No, there are. So, for example, the Blue Lodge is where you'd first join to your 3 degrees.
But if they're secret, Stephen, how do you know about them?
Because you have to apply to join. The society itself is not secret. It's the operation.
So if you apply to join, you end up knowing about all the bits of Freemasons. Because I've spoken to Freemasons and they disagree with what you're saying.
I would assume so. Once you go through, for example, the York Rite or the Scottish Rite, you can then progress up to like the Royal Jester Society, and there's different levels. And I would assume so that,
Well,
yeah, once you're
I asked, and they said that that's not true. So why do you seem to know more than Freemasons?
well, I've studied a lot of the Scottish Rite, and I would
But the
assume
Scottish
that
Freemasons disagree with what you're saying right now. So
I agree that they
why do
publicly
you
disagree.
know
I guess,
more? Why is it you think you know more than the actual Freemasons? That's a bit arrogant, is it not?
well, I would look at, for example, the astronauts who all went to the moon, and they would all be Freemasons.
No,
And
they
then you
weren't.
look
That's
at,
absolutely untrue. Not all of the astronauts that went to the moon were Freemasons.
no, the
That's a lie.
majority were though.
No,
No,
not
I
even
said
the majority. Some were, but you've just gone from all of them to the majority when that's not even true, Stephen. So you lied, and you knew you lied because you instantly changed your mind. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're nervous or something because you're on my channel, and that's why you're spouting all of these lies, right? I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and not go FTFE yet. I'm going to give you the chance to start being honest with me, and we're going to see how it goes, okay?
so. I don't know the number of Freemasons that went to space. All I know is that a lot of them were.
Stephen,
That's
you said your exact words were all of the astronauts that went to the moon were Freemasons. Those were
it'd be
your
my
words.
assumption that they were. Yeah.
No, you know that's false.
No, I don't. I don't know the exact number.
Why have you never? Well, if you don't know the exact number, why would you say all of them? Because it's a lie. Please,
No, because I would
stop
assume it
lying
is.
to me, Stephen.
No, it's not a lie. This is stuff that I studied over 10 years ago. I don't remember
So
the
over
exact
10 years
number.
ago, you studied and found out that all of the astronauts that went to the moon were Freemasons.
No, I'd say I don't remember the exact number, but I found out that a higher percentage
Then why
compared
did
to
you
the
say all
population
of
of the
them,
world.
Stephen? Why did you say all?
Just off the top of my head, that's what I thought would be right.
Off the top of your head, you thought all when you've never had any evidence suggest that is the case.
Well, there is evidence. You can go online and
No,
look at
there's
it. All I
no. Okay, there is
Let me
no
see.
evidence that all of the astronauts were Freemasons because that is not true.
Freemasons went to original moon landing. The argument, though, that I'm trying to say is that based on the percentage of Freemasons in the world, based on the percentage that went to the moon, it's a significantly higher amount. But I assume
That's
if we
because
Google, we can find-
simply a lot of rich people join the Freemasons because it means they get to hang around with some other rich people that are in the Freemasons. But that's it. There's no secret thing going on. It's not like, oh, we have to have Freemasons on the moon. Some of them happen to be Freemasons. So what? It means nothing. All right. The
Well,
fact that you guys lump that in
disproportionality-
with trying to control the world just shows that you don't understand anything. Right.
the disproportionality is one of the many evidences that leads us to believe that. Yeah, absolutely.
But again, the fact that a lot of rich people join Freemasons and these other societies, like the Order of Madfellows and stuff, they do that because it means that they can then meet other rich people that they can then drink and stuff with. So you get rich people, famous people or whatever, they join it because they want to. And then they're already in a position where, like, some of them go to the moon. It means nothing. Again, the Freemasons don't control anything, which means the fact that some of the Freemasons went to the moon also means nothing. It's just a thing you guys say to push conspiracy theories. It's dishonest, Stephen. You are simply full of lies so far, and I don't appreciate it.
Okay, no, I understand your opinion for sure.
No, it's not an opinion. I'd appreciate it if you don't say opinion because I only speak facts. I'll tell you when it's my opinion. Like it's my
So there's no
opinion
way
right
for you
now
to
that
know
you have
the inner
nothing but
workings.
disrespect for all of your audience and everyone you speak to because you tell lies that you know are lies.
Well, it's not. There's no way for either of us to know entirely the inner workings of societies we're not a part of. We can only hypothesize.
Oh, but only
in the
you are the one that claims to know, though.
No, I didn't say I know.
You
I
do.
said it's
You
evident.
claim to be like, oh, Freemasons are controlling blah blah blah, this and that, secret societies. You're the one that
That's my
that
belief,
claims
yes.
to know that. Whereas the people that actually are there disagree with you. You are just spouting conspiracy nonsense. Open a fucking book, okay? Right. This leads us on to the whole faking of space, right? That's one of your big things. But Stephen, there is no faking of space. There has never been faking of space that has been shown to be, true. No one has ever presented evidence that space is fake other than shit they don't understand, right? So we'll stick on this for a little bit, and I'd like you to give me some evidence that space has been faked that we can talk about.
Yeah, so the most recent one that I can remember very clearly would be the Elon Musk red Tesla Roadster in
Why was that
space.
fake?
That's about 7 years ago. I'm trying to remember the reasons why it was fake, but looking at it, it was very fake. But then I remember stuff like the tires not popping, which they should
Why
have
would
been.
they? No, why would they pop?
Well, I believe that's what happens with the pressure.
No, no. What's the difference in pressure in tires?
I don't know the exact numbers. Do you?
Okay, so when you pump up your tires, you put like, I don't know, 40 psi in, right?
Yeah.
The Earth's atmosphere at sea level is 14.7 psi. So there's only going to be a difference of 14.7 psi. They would not pop.
What do you mean? We're talking about in space, not at
Yes,
sea level.
so in space, compared to here, there is only a difference of 14.7 psi. Here, at ground level, at sea level, psi is 14.7. At space, it's practically zero. That is a difference of 14. That is a difference of 14.7 psi. So let's assume that they had 25 psi in those tires. Then they send those tires up. There is now 14.7 psi less pressing on the tires. So the tire only has to deal with a difference of 14.7 psi. If a tire is going to explode because of a difference of 14.7 psi, tires should not be on cars.
Even change size though, like the anomaly itself is the
again,
issue.
why would they change size? Tires are designed to not change size with difference in pressure.
I don't believe that. If you go to zero pressure, it would definitely change.
Why? You're just saying a thing with no evidence.
Well, you can put a balloon in a vacuum chamber, for example.
A tire is not a balloon. A tire is something specifically designed to contain pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not just a little bit of pressure, up to like 50 psi. Okay? So the fact that there is only a difference of 14.7 psi on Earth at sea level, that tire has 14.7 psi pressing on the outside of it, right? And then on the inside, there's say 30 psi pushing on the outside. So when that goes up, there's no longer that 14.7 psi pushing up. So there's a difference of 14.7 psi, which the tire is able to deal with. The tire's not going to expand and explode because the pressure difference isn't that much.
That makes sense.
So your argument there is just stupid because you don't understand physics. It's as simple as that.
Well, looking at it, it looked fake in my opinion. That's the major reason for it.
So your opinion.
The visual
opinion. The evidence that, let's be clear, Stephen, the evidence that the space is fake, and the reason why you are pushing this to other people is because, in your opinion, it looked fake.
Yeah, that's like me grabbing this globe and telling you this is the actual Earth. You can visually see it's not, much in the same way as how I was able to visually look at the Tesla and realize it's not in space. Like, this isn't actually
You're just
Earth.
saying that, though. What evidence do you have that it's not in space?
Well, looking at it,
when me and the rest of the sane people on the planet looked at it, we could tell that it was clearly in space.
But I believe that more has to do with the cognitive dissonance and the conditioning. People can't really question it, or they feel kind of...
Oh, no, we can question it and we can test it. And you know how we tested it? I've got a friend called Astronomy Live, and he used his personal equipment to track the Tesla in space. He tracked the launch, he tracked it orbiting, and he has still tracked it recently. Everything that they said that they did was tracked independently.
Not just like a blurry dot, but you can actually make out like the Tesla?
Well, no, we tracked the launch. You can't use a telescope and look at it. It's too far away. But we tracked what they said they put in space.
Well,
at the time that they said it is, in space, at the distances they said it is, because space is real.
Well, I believe we can go up about 8 miles. I don't disagree with that.
We got way higher than 8 miles.
That's where I would disagree, though. But I believe that Astronomy Live did do what he said he did from the ground. But
yeah, and he saw that it was a lot higher than 8 miles.
How high did he track it till?
Like, he tracked it, like, way past Earth's orbit.
That's interesting.
Right, but you saying it looked fake. What about it looked fake? Just give me some evidence that it was fake.
Well, it looked like it was just in a studio. For example, if you watch how Hollywood videos are done, it looked no different than that.
So Hollywood is good at making space look real. What wonderful. That's
really
not
good,
evidence that real things are fake. I was playing Doom the Dark Ages earlier, and the graphics are incredible, but there's definitely not demons from hell invading the planet of Argent. You know, just because something looks like something else doesn't mean that's how it is.
You're saying it's evidence, not positive proof.
It's not evidence. It's just an opinion. Your opinion isn't evidence. Let's be clear. Evidence is something that can be scrutinized and tested. And, you know, you going, well, it doesn't look real to me. That's not evidence, Stephen. That's just you not liking things. Because, you know, I'm pretty sure your favourite book is Everything I Don't Like Is Fake, The Flat Earther's Child Guide to Dismissing Evidence.
No, my favorite book is the Flat Earth Science textbook.
That's not a book, that's toilet paper.
No, it's a book.
No, it's toilet paper.
You have disagreements on definitions.
No. It is literally toilet paper. That is the only thing that it is useful for. The only thing that it should be used for. Yes, that is literally toilet paper.
That's what I mean. We have a problem agreeing on definitions.
Well, no. Well, let's talk about what it's useful for. That is useful as toilet paper, nothing else. Not even that useful for toilet paper, because I bet the pages.
But every book is useful for toilet paper. I don't disagree with that.
No, but other books have uses like other books have uses like entertainment and education, whereas that is literally only useful as toilet paper.
But then that's
because it's just full of lies and nonsense.
But again, that's your subjective opinion.
Oh no, it's an objective fact. Let's be clear. It has no use to society, a bit like you.
But again, that's your opinion.
No, those were facts, Stephen. I don't do opinions. Right?
So when other people buy the book and say they like it, how is you right and they wrong?
Well, because I have an IQ higher than my shoe size, and I didn't have fetal alcohol poisoning syndrome. My parents didn't meet at a family reunion, and my mum didn't use my soft spot as an ashtray when I was a child.
But again, that's not a valid argument. That's just you trying to name call and shame. Because
none of those were name calling. Those were physical ailments that make people flat earthers. People, they're not stupid because they're a flat earther, Stephen. People are flat earthers because they are stupid. And that's not an opinion. That is an objective fact.
But I deal with flat earthers all the time. I don't think they're all stupid. I know a lot are for sure.
You're stupid also. Stupid people don't know whether other people are stupid or not.
I would disagree with you on that as well.
Well, yeah, but I'd agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong, Stephen. There is, right, if flat earthers were smart, they would have done something useful for society, invented something, done something actually beneficial. That has never happened in the existence of flat earthers. No invention.
But it's neither happened
today has ever been made by a flat earther. No.
Like I could also argue that you have no contributions.
Oh, I have actually. I've contributed to society.
What?
Well, I was part of the team that designed the ventilation system for chemical warfare on board the new the aircraft carriers. I also helped develop the infrastructure for wind power in Scotland when I was project manager for Enetrag UK. And I've also
you're an exception then to the rule.
I've raised two wonderful children who one is training to be a chef and one is an incredible artist. I do charity work. I've raised thousands and thousands of pounds for SAFA. I help my neighbours. I benefit the world by being here because I'm
the first two things you
said. No flat earther has ever done anything of use to anybody.
I would disagree with that. A lot of flat earthers volunteer their time. They're part of churches. They do all that same stuff.
They do it to other flat earthers.
I would also disagree then, because the flat earthers at church represent only a very small group.
Okay, so what inventions has flat earther ever made that is used today regularly?
I don't think any.
Oh, yeah. Why is that?
I don't know. I guess
I do. I know, and I'll tell you why. It's because all flat earthers are fucking idiots. And I'm not being mean there, Stephen. That's not me name calling. I've spoken to thousands of flat earthers, and this is the conclusion I have come to, as someone that is generally quite intelligent, and I know that for a fact. Every single flat earther I've spoken to has been what I would say less than remedial in intelligence. None of them understand physics or maths or science or generally basic hygiene, if I'm honest. They drink piss for fuck's sake.
I know one person who drinks piss, but in general, most people are not like that either.
Most flat earthers are, though. In fact, all flat earthers are.
Again,
there is
I
not
disagree.
a smart flat earther. I've got a standing challenge of if they can find an actual flat earther with a master's degree in any kind of physics, I will give them £10,000. It hasn't
But they would
happened.
never want to dox themselves, so because they'd be victims to the hate crimes, like people like MC2.
Well, I've never doxed anyone, and they could privately let themselves.
No, but your
name anything.
associates do, though. You associate.
I wouldn't tell anyone else the name. So, lumping.
But again,
me
you
with other
lost your
people is a problem.
credibility by associating with those people. That's why you'll never find
no
someone.
one that I know has ever doxed anybody.
MC2 has called up people's work to try to get them fired. He's a well-known.
That's not being that's not doxing someone. He gave that information himself, whilst posting about his work, and also on the same post calling MC2 a pedophile. Those kind of things absolutely should be reported.
We're disagreeing on
to people's
definitions, but the point is no one's going
work.
to give you their...
There's no different definition. He was called a pedophile in the same post that somebody mentioned his work. The work should know about that. That's not doxing.
The point is no one's going to give you their information voluntarily.
Well, I've had many flat earthers give me their information because I'm trustworthy.
Well, then they're the stupid ones. And I
Well,
agree
because
with you
they
on
trust someone that's trustworthy. I've never shown to be not trustworthy.
You're right. Again, I don't have anything against you yet. I'm only talking about your associates.
Yes,
like I know
I'm sure you will.
MC Toon very well, and he
And
has not
MC
said
Toon's
a
never doxed anyone. Not once. Ever. Giving out information that is already out is not doxing somebody.
I can agree with you on that. The bigger point is the hate crimes that he commits against
There's
people.
no hate crimes that have been committed. None at all.
Calling up someone's work to try to get them...
Oh, that's not a hate crime. That is reporting somebody abusing him online whilst also having the same information about his work in that post. If I was an employer and one of my employees was doing that and possibly bringing my company into disrepute, I would want to know. Because I wouldn't want to employ that kind of person. I think what MC Toon did there was fair after what Kevin did and said. He publicly called MC Toon a pedophile to thousands of people and a pimp.
Yeah, that's not right.
Right? So
if that's what happened, then I agree with you on that. That could be argued as justifiable, but...
Absolutely it is. Kevin has harassed me for months.
That's just more spite.
No, it's doing a public service of anything. Kevin is a courier. He goes into people's homes. I don't know if that kind of person should be. Okay? So, faking
you have
space.
a valid argument. I accept
back to faking space. What other evidence do you have that space is fake? Remember, guys, we're 45 minutes in. We've got 3 hours. The last hour will be Q&A. So make sure you get those chats in and stuff. If you want a question for Mr. Alonzo here. He's not going to call himself a doctor anymore because he doesn't want to be a liar. And I'm sure as he doesn't want to be a liar, he's going to remove any references to himself being a doctor, as he's now been informed that that is a lie.
No, but I'll clarify where my degree comes from. I don't want
anyone to... You don't have a degree, though. You don't have a degree. No, that's the thing.
Like, for example, my master's is right here, and it's...
Master's in... Yeah, but that's not a real degree. That's fake.
But that's where we argue over definitions, though.
Well, no. There wasn't an accredited institution that awarded that.
No, I don't claim to be an organization.
Well, then you can't... A master's degree... Stephen, don't fucking lie to me. A master's degree can only be awarded by an accredited institution.
I don't believe that. I believe...
No. Whether you believe it or not is irrelevant. That is the fact. I am telling you now, as a fact, a degree of any kind can only be awarded by an accredited institution. Okay?
Now, you might be right under the UK laws.
No,
I don't know how...
Internationally, you cannot just award any country. There has to be an accredited institution that awards degrees.
I will look into that more. We operate under the U.S. legislation, so that's...
Well, then if you're operating under the U.S., then you are definitely lying, because there is literally a governing body in the U.S. Let me tell you the name of it. Right. It is literally the US Department of Education or the Council for Higher Education Accreditation. Well, actually, both of those have to be involved. The US Department of Education has to recognize the university, and the Council for Higher Education Accreditation are the ones that actually give the ability for educational facilities in the United States to award degrees. If you don't have this, then it's not actually accredited at all. So,
from my understanding, in Wyoming, we have a religious exemption that then allows us to issue those degrees. I think that is the
Flat Earth is not a religion.
You can argue it is.
No, it's not a religion, because again, religions actually have to be recognized as a religion. There's an official list of recognized religions that would apply for any exemptions, which I don't believe exist. And Flat Earth, Flat Earth isn't a religion. Flat Earth is a cult, Stephen. Okay, it's not a religion.
You're right.
It's a fucking
IRS.
cult.
Tax exemption IRS, you're correct on that. There's specific religions, but for the Department of Education, it's a different set of exemptions.
No, it's not.
You have to have like a statement of faith, and I looked into it. That's why I believe what I'm doing.
No, you're absolutely wrong. If your university isn't recognized by a USDA or CHEA approved accreditor, your PhD has the same academic weight as a fucking Happy Meal. Okay.
And I could agree with you on that. The academic weight.
Stop doing that. I could agree with me. That's so sea-lining bullshit, and I don't fucking take it, okay? You are lying. You do not have a degree of any kind. You just told me that you operate under the US laws. Specifically, yes. The US laws means that you have to have accrediting bodies. You do not have those. And there's no religious exemption that would ever apply to Flat Earth. Flat Earth is a cult, not a religion. There is no religious exemption that applies to Flat Earth. You do not have the right to say you have a degree. Now I'm annoyed because I've got 2 bachelors and you're pretending you're more intelligent than me.
No, I believe we're differently qualified in different fields.
I'm more intelligent than you in every single field that there is. Let's be clear.
I would disagree on that.
Stephen, there is nothing in this world that you would know more than me about. Maybe lying. You're better at lying than I am. I'm really bad at lying.
So my real background is in computer science, and I definitely know more.
No, I don't think it is. I've actually looked at what you say about computer science, and I think that's a complete lie.
But again, that's where I would be more educated than you.
Well, what's your degree in computer science then?
Well, I don't put that publicly because I don't want people calling up universities.
No, don't need to tell me the university, but what have you got?
I majored in machine learning, but I have a bachelor's of computer science.
You have a bachelor's in computer science.
So I'm from Canada. A lot of people don't know this, but I grew up in Canada. I had a pretty normal life until I moved to Belize.
Okay. So, any more evidence about space being fake other than your opinions?
Well, it's all an opinion. We can't positively prove that the original moon landings were real, for example.
Oh, I can. I've done that.
How? I'd be willing to learn, because right now I believe.
Well, it's pretty easy. You just analyze the video footage of the moon buggy and the dust being kicked up from the back of it, and notice that there's 2 very specific things. One that was recorded in somewhere with 0 atmosphere, and 2 it was recorded with somewhere 1/5 the gravitational acceleration of Earth. That would have been impossible to fake because you would have had to remove the air from the studio and change the gravity.
That is interesting. I would
not interesting, factual.
Fake that though, because I'm thinking the same time that the moon landing happened, there's a movie called Space Odyssey, and
looks nothing like that.
It was pretty good though, based on the difference in budget. So
nothing like it at all. Nothing at all. You compare the moon buggy to Space Odyssey, nothing at all.
Interesting. I'm gonna write that down because I never actually thought of the dust under the tires. But based on the documentaries I watched, just to be over 10 years ago, my conclusion
the documentaries like A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon that's full of lies.
I don't remember which one. There's several of them, but
they're all just full of lies. You've never looked at the other side. That's the problem. Hey, what does HTTP stand for and what's it used for?
HTTP is Hypertext Protocol. So it's a way that the web works, but it's used for many other stuff too, like the back end for APIs.
So
hypertext protocol.
Just wondering, in binary, what does 1010 represent in decimal?
1010 would be like the number 4 maybe, or number 2. It'd be the number 4, I think.
You think? I've always wondered, what's a loop in programming?
A what?
What is a loop?
A loop, it's in code where it would just do the function over and over again. For example, in my app, we have numerous loops that check on controller input. That's a very basic example. So you can loop 1 plus I, and then you just count all the numbers. But this is basic computer science, so this is like any software developer
Well,
knows.
yeah, that is quite basic. If you want a better question, what are the 4 pillars of object-oriented programming?
Ooh, so that would be encapsulation is one of them. Let me think. Encapsulation.
I
Off
feel
the
like
top
this
of my
is
head,
something
I
I should
don't know.
Oh.
But I do know encapsulation's one of them. I haven't done a job interview for many, many years. I've been self-employed now doing development contracts, but we do object-oriented programming in our jobs. A very basic example of an object are the observers in my Firmament Trackers app.
Okay. So what's the difference between concurrency and parallelism?
Concurrency would be when something's running like in the same, you could say, block. So it'd be, the difference is multiple times or just once.
Wow. I mean, someone with a degree in computer science would have given much better answers than that. Just saying. How long ago did you get your degree in computer science?
So this would be, I graduated high school like 2012. So I would have graduated in 2016.
So not that long ago.
Well, it's a good 10 years, yeah.
Yeah. And binary is definitely something you should know. 1010 is 10, dude. You weren't even
Well, no,
close.
we don't actually use that, though, in the high-level languages. You're thinking of
yeah, but
lower-level
you
languages,
definitely
like
understand binary if you have had a good degree in computer science.
Yes, I memorized it for the quizzes, absolutely, yeah. But that's the same thing as, like, what is the sine of 90? We don't memorize that stuff. That's more just for the test and to prove you can understand a concept.
Yeah. Cool, bud. Yeah, I don't think you have any degrees, frankly. And I can base that on my observation, Stephen, because you've lied to me many, many fucking times today, right? You've lied to me a lot.
I disagree.
So, well, no, you have lied to me. I've told you that they're lies, and you keep saying them, so they are lies. And the fact that you've lied to me several times means that I've no reason to believe you when you tell me you have a degree in computer science, considering you failed the most basic of questions that I've just asked you.
Then you don't have to believe that.
No, well, you know, I don't think anyone else would believe that either. So let's be clear. Faking a space, that's the second one. You've got nothing. You've got nothing at all other than your personal incredulity.
Well, you can argue that's how all science works.
No, it's not at all. Science doesn't work by that at all. Science works by testing hypotheses that make predictions. Not by going, well, I don't think that's true, so I'm going to say it's fake. That is what we call being a fucking idiot. Okay? Not science. Not how that works. Right, so I just want to be clear. You don't have any evidence that the space is fake. You said the recent Katy Perry thing was fake. What was fake about that?
From what I remember, it was the door landing. They opened and shut it.
Yeah, that was just a gaffe for the recording. What they're supposed to do is for the show, for the the cameras. Once it lands, Jeff Bezos comes up. Oh, look at me, all important. Opens the door with his tool, right? But they got excited and they opened it beforehand, and they were like, "Well, shit, shut the door." Jeff is supposed to do that. That doesn't mean it was fake. Because that was after the space flight had happened.
No, right? It's a valid objection. Yeah.
So, what about the actual space flight makes you think that it's fake?
I didn't watch the actual flight. I only watched the landing part.
Stephen, you gave that as one of your main reasons for saying that space is fake, and you haven't even watched it.
Correct. I watched the landing. But I assume if I could watch it, it would also...
So your research goes as far as, I've watched other YouTubers that think the Earth is flat say that this happened, and I didn't bother to watch the fucking rest of it. Is this your serious level of research?
No, because I don't care what the other YouTubers said. I'm saying the original flight that I watched land. That's all.
No, you watched that on another Flat Earthers channel that posted it going, look at them opening the door. Don't lie to me. If you watched it somewhere good, you would have seen the entire thing. Because every news report had clips of the entire thing in. So anything you would have seen would have had some clips of it being in space. The fact that you said the entire trip was fake because they opened the door whilst on the ground, seriously, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That's the evidence that points to why I believe it's fake, yeah.
That's not evidence, though. that's not evidence that the space flight is fake, because that was after the space flight.
It's all part of the same, you could say, performance.
Yeah. Do doors open? Yes. Do they have the ability to open the door from the inside? Yes, for emergencies, of course. Did they have a gaff and open it before they were meant to? Yes. Anything about the actual space flight? No. Is there anything else that makes you think that space is fake? Because that's one of your big 4 points.
There's a fifth one that just came to mind. I saw a photo of a group of astronauts doing something inside of like one of those shuttles. But when you looked at the photo, you could tell it was clearly AI generated. Like you could see the different fingers and the hands. I don't remember what it was called, but it was very popular going around on the flat Earth communities.
Right. So you saw something from a flat earther that was a screenshot of something. You don't know where the original is from. And you're going, well, that's evidence that that space is fake. Could it have been maybe? Could it have been a B or a P frame? Maybe.
No.
Why not?
Because it was presented as an actual photo, not part of like a clip of the video.
Who told you it was presented as a photo?
The single image that was passed around. I saw no video.
The single image passed around by flat earthers. Have you verified that image?
No.
Have you verified that image was presented by NASA or anyone else as an actual photo?
No, so you're right. The photo itself could have been AI generated and then got spread as misinformation. You're right in that regards.
So why haven't you checked?
I don't care enough to. So space.
So you don't care what's true or not? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't care to find out every little bit of evidence. No. Well, there's too much.
That's why you're a flat earther, because you don't care about evidence. What the actual fuck? Right, and what's your nonsense about the sun's ground position? There's no sun's ground position. That's not how it works. The tilt of the Earth is converted.
Oh yeah, it's used in celestial navigation. The ground position is a well-known and accepted concept in celestial navigation. I understand you might not know how to do that, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a real thing.
How to. But the way you're describing it, there is no ground position for the sun because the sun isn't directly above us. All right, it's not. It doesn't work like that.
Every celestial object. So the 90 degrees.
As in the sun is not directly above us. You can't say the sun is directly above this point. All right, you know that, right?
No, I don't. When it has a 90 degrees above you, that is the exact ground position of any celestial object. That's how it's defined.
No, that doesn't mean the celestial object is directly above that point. That's not what that means.
So you're saying if I get my protractor out and something's 90 degrees, you're saying it's not directly above me?
In celestial navigation, the ground point of something doesn't mean that means that thing is directly above that point on the ground. It's out in space.
So I think you're confusing the altitude with
No, I'm not confusing anything. You are assuming that the object is directly above that point, like 90 degrees up there it is. That's not how it works.
So I agree with you that it would theoretically still be 90 million miles above. That's not the disagreement.
Oh my fucking God. Right, but anyway, so your objection is that, well, that matches the tilt of the Earth. Well, of course it fucking does. That's why it does that. That's why there's 24 hours of sun in Antarctica and then 24 hours of night in Antarctica, because of the tilt of the Earth. The tilt of the Earth is verified by fucking satellites in space looking at it and the solar system and the way we orbit.
No, but that's just appealing to the space agencies, which
no, it's not appealing to the space agencies. It's looking at the evidence. You don't get to say it came from a space agency, therefore we can't use that as evidence. That's dishonest.
That's literally what an appeal to authority is. Science
no, it's not that. No, it's fucking not.
It.
No, it's not. An appeal to authority is not going to the experts. An appeal to authority is like, oh, my king said that the color yellow smells like bananas. Therefore, it's true. The king is no expert.
The king is
no, I'm talking. The king is no expert in that, but he is a position of authority. And if you listen to people in authority that are not experts in their field, that is appealing to authority. But if you go to the experts in the field, go to the scientists, go to the people that have studied and get their opinions and their expert advice, that is not appealing to authority.
I agree with you on that. The issue is these scientists
But that's
are being
not what you
paid by
said.
the king.
Stop sea
No, I
lying to
didn't.
me.
They're being paid by the king to
No,
do
they're
it.
not.
It's the exact
Scientists
same
are not
thing.
paid by the king, all right?
Yes, the government. The government gives NASA
The government does not pay
50% a
all
day.
scientists.
No, the space scientists, yes. I don't know any space
No, it doesn't.
scientists that out of their own free
The
will.
government doesn't pay all space scientists. In fact, the majority of space agencies do not belong to governments.
Which ones don't?
SpaceX.
I would say that's also government approved and regulated. I don't think.
No, it's nothing to do with the government. The government contract them because they're good at putting shit in space. Blue Origin, not government.
So within the flat Earth community, we believe that the elites are no different than the government. So to
But
clarify,
no, you're just trying to change the meaning of things. That's another lie, Stephen. I've warned you about lying to me. Cut it out.
well, it's not a lie. You just misunderstand stuff like the Bilderberg group. You might not know that all the elites meet in
Yeah,
secret.
no, that
and
whole
plan
thing's
stuff
also a
with
lie.
government.
That's just a conspiracy theory with no evidence behind it.
You don't think the Bilderberg group is real?
They don't control everything like you say.
I didn't say they control. I said they meet in secret to plan stuff.
Have you got any evidence of that?
Yeah, the public participation membership is well known. You can see who's meeting.
How
in
is it secret if the public know about it?
I didn't say it's secret. I said they
Yeah, you
meet.
did. You said they meet in
They
secret.
meet in secret. Yes.
Have
the
you got any
membership-
evidence that they meet in secret?
Yeah, they list their locations where they go.
Well, then that's not secret, is it?
I didn't say the location is secret. I said the meeting is secret.
How can
What
the
they
meeting be
discuss
secret if
behind
they
the
tell
closed
people
doors.
where they're meeting?
Because it's a closed door meeting. So again, you're doing
That's
this
not a
semantic
secret. A
fallacy.
closed door meeting where they've told everyone what it is not a secret meeting.
What's discussed is secret. Yes, you're.
Have you got any
playing with
evidence that there's
definitions
secret
called
things
out.
discussed there?
There's no way to know unless you're inside that.
Oh,
no.
right. So you're just
All
making
I
it up
said is that
then.
they meet. in
So you're
secret.
just making it
No.
up then, Stephen.
No,
You're lying
playing with
again. You're
definitions when
lying
you get
again,
called
Stephen.
out.
You're just making it up. You are claiming to know what the secret stuff is. Then it wouldn't
I
be a
didn't say that.
fucking secret, would it?
I didn't say to know what the secret stuff is. I said.
Well,
they
you
meet
claim
in
to know that there's secret stuff going on with no evidence of secret stuff going on.
Yes, that's what a secret meeting is. When you don't.
Have
publish
you
what
got
you're-
any evidence there is a secret meeting?
Yeah, I think the Bilderberg's website. This is well known.
Well,
So
then
your
it's
audience
not a secret
search
if it's on the fucking website.
So the location is not what we're talking about being secret. You're trying to play with words now that you.
No,
got
you're
called
the
out.
one playing with words.
What we're
If it's a
talking about-
secret, nobody would know about it. That's how
Again, I never
secrets
said
work.
no one knows about it.
Secrets mean nobody's told. Shh, it's a secret. If you know about it, Stephen, someone who lies about having degrees and doesn't understand the most basic thing about computer programming, if you know about it, then it's not a fucking secret.
I never said the location is a secret.
I know, but you said there's secret stuff going on, secret decisions
Yes.
being made with no evidence
Well,
behind
I didn't say
it.
secret decisions. I didn't say
Yes, you
secret.
did. Stop twisting
Nope.
what you're saying. Stop
I said secret
backpedaling.
discussion.
Sick backpedal,
Okay,
dude. Get on
your
fucking
audience can
unicycle.
rewind it to see that you've been lying. So it'll
audience,
come
right?
regardless.
Let's ask the audience. Have I been lying? We'll put a poll up, shall we? Have I been lying or Stephen? Me, Stephen. We'll see what my audience says, shall we? Because you just lied several times to me. Again.
But again, an appeal to consensus doesn't change the objective fact that anyone can search.
You
up
were
what
the
the
one that brought up the audience, Stephen.
I said they can scroll back to see you're lying. Yes.
Yeah.
Their
Everyone in the
opinion doesn't
audience,
change
scroll
the objective
back.
fact.
Everyone that's watching this, right? Every single person watching this, scroll back. See if I was lying. All right. So, you've got no evidence that the against the sun's ground position and the tilt and that. You just don't like it for some reason, right?
I think you misunderstand what ground position is. That's
No,
the
I don't,
issue.
but-
If you don't-
No, I understand when you're doing celestial navigation, that is the point where the thing would be, that would be the ground position by taking the measurement of the altitude.
Yeah.
Right? I know how celestial navigate. I was a sailor for many, many years. I've explained it in several videos, right? But you've got an issue with it, that the ground position of the sun, which isn't what you think it is, it coincides with the Earth's tilt. Why is that a
Correct.
problem?
It implies that the globe model was reverse engineered from the real.
Why
life
does it
flat
imply
Earth
that?
model. because it's the exact same tilt as the
Could it just be that that's the fact, not that the globe model was reverse engineered?
It can be a coincidence, absolutely. But then how many coincidences until we realize...
Is it a coincidence or is it an effect of the fact that the Earth is tilted? It's not a coincidence. If the Earth is tilted, there are certain things we would expect to happen. That's not called coincidence. That's called making predictions and testing it. Right, let's do science here, Stephen. Let's do science, shall we? Right? Observation. Well, 24 hours of sun in Antarctica during the summer. Huh. Hypothesis. Earth must be kind of tilted relative to the sun. Because that would, you know, explain why that happens. We can test that by making predictions of when and where we would expect daylight and sunlight.
The flat Earth
model go to those places and do that, right? It's not a coincidence. It's an effect of the thing. Stop using words wrong.
Well, no. So the 24-hour sun's also predicted under flat Earth.
No, it is not. No, it's really, really not. There is no way that unless you lie about the way that light works, that there could be a 24-hour sun on a flat Earth.
Well, yeah, so we believe in the concept of dome refraction. So as I said earlier, all celestial
objects... Who believes in the concept of dome refraction?
Me and a lot of earlier scientists as well. Let me see.
Earlier,
so people
no scientists believe in dome refraction. That's
Flat Earth Dave, Living Water. So
he's not a scientist. Sorry, Flat Earth Dave is not a scientist. He's a liar.
Again, that's your opinion, but it doesn't.
Well, no, it's not an opinion. I counted his lies, actually. In fact, I haven't even finished. I'm about an hour and a half into a 2-hour thing, and he's currently at like 67 lies. Maybe more, actually.
But even if he's lying, it doesn't change the fact that he's doing research. Like he's
no, he's not. He's never done research in his life. He's lying about doing research. Dave Weiss has never done any research in his life, ever. He lies about doing research, and then lies to sell an app that leaks data to people.
But that's his hand holding the flashlight over the dome in the photo I'm showing you.
That's not any kind of research.
Well, that's where we disagree on definitions. But what you asked though is,
but there's no dome. We've checked for a dome, and there isn't one. And also in this, the sun is outside of the dome.
Yeah, so we don't know how far it is outside. All I know is
you told me. Hold on. You told me earlier. Let's be clear. You told me earlier that all celestial objects are in the dome. The sun is a celestial. The sun is a celestial object. Therefore, according to you, it would be in the dome. Now you're saying it's outside the dome. Pick a fucking lane.
I'm trying to make it simple for you to understand, but the point of dome refraction
is don't try and dumb it down for me.
You can have
just stop telling lies. Is the sun outside the dome or is it in the dome?
It's definitely not in, but it could be on, and it could also be above.
Which one is it? Is it on or is it above? Which one?
Science hasn't advanced that far to know. All we know is
we have. Science has advanced well far enough to know. We can check these things with radar. So is it on the dome or outside of the dome? You need to pick one.
We don't know yet. No,
right, well then your entire model doesn't work.
Yes, it does, because the point.
No, if you don't have a position of the sun, then your entire model doesn't work.
The ground position stays true regardless of the altitude.
No, I'm sorry. You don't have an ability to make these calculations because you don't have an actual height of the sun.
You don't need the height of the sun.
Oh, for doing this, you definitely do.
Not at all. So you can go outside and calculate the declination of the sun yourself.
Yeah, but then you need to know the actual height of the sun to be able to apply it to the map that you've got there.
You don't at all. So I show the calculation. Oh, you absolutely
do, or at least the height of the dome. Which one is it? What's the height of the dome?
You don't need either. So
yes, you do.
The height of the dome is where we do the radius of the globe to measure distances, but that's haversine.
The height of the globe. No, what is the height of the dome?
So I argue it's the exact same radius of the globe, about like 6,371 kilometers.
At what point is the dome that high?
The middle of the parabolic peak.
And it gets lower as you go towards the edge?
Correct. Yeah. Let me see if I can pull up that.
Yeah. Why does radar not see it then?
Well, I believe radar probably does. If you're able to.
No, it doesn't. I've used radar and I've checked. Radar doesn't see it.
Well, ionospheric refraction, the whole idea of bouncing stuff off
radar doesn't bounce off the ionosphere. Radio waves do. Radar goes through the ionosphere. That's why we can look at the things in space with it. I've used radar. And no, there's no dome. No radar has ever reported that there's dome, so there's no dome.
And you're able to control, though, against the celeste. Like, what I mean is you can point it just into the sky, and you're
I
saying
can
you got
point it
no
at the
bounce
moon.
back.
In fact, I've used lasers to measure the distance to the moon, and there
No,
was
I
definitely
agree
and there
with
was
that.
definitely no dome.
What I'm saying is we have to control against the dome itself. So
But
instead of
there's
just
no dome. I've checked.
But if you didn't control against it, you didn't
What do you
really.
mean
You
control?
just
If right, radar, it's very simple. You point radar up, it will bounce off the dome and come down. That has never happened. You would never.
So
There's
you're
never
pointing
ever
it-
been a ping for the dome on radar. It's never happened.
So I think that's what I'm asking. You're just not able to understand because you're angry. When I said control against it, I meant not pointing it at the celestial object. So pointing at the sky.
Yeah. That's very, very easy.
And getting nothing
you
back.
point it at the moon, and then you point it not at the moon, and you
Yeah,
get
so the answer would have
you get
been
two different
yes.
readings. One, there's no ping back. Another, there's a ping back from 250,000 miles.
Yes, that's what I was asking you. The answer would have just been yes. So you did control against it. Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah, maybe you should use scientific terms. That's not what control against it means.
Well, yeah, it is.
You
If
mean
you're only
control
pointing
4.
at the
The
moon.
word you're looking for is control 4. I understand you're not very clear with like scientific vernacular because you're a fucking idiot. Right? I'm just going to be honest at this point, Stephen. There's two options for you. You are either a pathological liar or one of the dumbest people on the planet.
Well, I believe my own lies, so...
Oh, you're aware that they're lies.
Well, I don't believe they're lies, no, but everything
You
I'm
just
telling
said you believe your lies, so you're aware that they're
From
lies.
your perspective, yes, I'm answering your question. If you think I'm a liar, I'm telling you I believe everything I'm saying.
But
I don't think
you
they're
just admitted that they're lies, though. That's a lovely clip. Thank you very much. I will take that and use it wildly. In fact, guys, Rachbot, do me a favor. Can you just clip him saying "I believe my own lies" and send that to me on X or email? Thank you very much. Love you. Right. So yeah, there's no evidence of the dome. We've measured the distance to the sun. It matches the tilt, etc. And we've talked about how you said there was no rotation of the moon. And you were just wrong about that because there is a rotation of the moon that's measurable and detectable. So your 4 points for flat Earth were all shit. None of them were evidence.
I understand you might not be able to understand them.
Oh, no, I understand them fully. I've just gone through them with you, Stephen, and explained why all 4 of them are complete and utter fucking nonsense. You have an opinion because you don't think that space is real. Therefore, any footage from space is fake. You think the sun and the moon look the same size. Therefore, mind can't comprehend why that happens. You don't understand why the ground position of the sun matches the tilt of the earth, even though that's the exact prediction of the tilt of the earth. You say there's no rotation of the moon when in fact there is. It rotates once every month, the same time that it takes to orbit our planet. I understand exactly. The problem is that you don't understand anything that you've said. You've made a bunch of lies. You've completely said to me that I don't bother doing the actual research. I just look at the bits that I want to. Fantastic, huh? Don't you feel any shame?
Well, no, because other people understand it. Just because you're not able
Well,
to
no,
understand it.
no one understands what you're saying because what you're saying is nonsense and lies.
Everyone on the flat
Don't you feel
Earth
any
is
shame for being a pathological liar?
No, because I don't think I'm lying.
Well, no, you are lying. I've told you you're lying. I've explained to you why you're lying, and you're still saying it even though it's a lie. Like the doctor thing. You know it's a lie to call yourself a doctor, yet you're still doing it. That means you're a pathological liar. You're happy with that, which means you're also a narcissist.
I understand where you're coming from, yes, but I don't agree with you, if that makes sense.
It doesn't matter if you agree with me. Narcissists would say they don't agree with me. Like, I genuinely think that you are lying about everything you're saying. You don't believe any of this. You're doing it for attention or something because you're a narcissist. Because I don't want to think that someone can be as stupid as you are putting out. Right? We were talking about radar. Explain to me why there's a radar horizon.
I don't know what a radar horizon is.
Right. So there is a very distinct point. If radar is low on the ground, right, there is a very distinct point where you do not get a ping back. And you only get a ping back from things that are high in the air. And it's equidistant circle around it. What could make an equidistant circle around you block off something? A signal. What would cause that, Stephen?
Well, radar not being able to travel as far as we think it does.
Well, no, radar, we know it can travel because it can travel further in the sky. And we get ping back from things in the sky. But there's a certain point on the ground where we will no longer get ping backs from the ground. We know the radar can travel further than that point. We know the radar can go further than that radar horizon. So why is there a radar horizon?
Well, there's many ways to look at it. You could say that there's a curve, but you can also do what I say and say that radar doesn't go that far. The ping back,
but it does go that far because it goes further than the horizon when you look up, right? That's the thing. We know it goes further. We know radar goes further than the radar horizon. We know that for a fact. Otherwise, radar would be practically useless. All right. So don't pretend that that's as far as radar goes. Radar goes further than the radar horizon, but the radar horizon exists. And you even admitted that the reason that happens is because there's a fucking curve to the surface.
No, I said that's one of the many theories, but how far does it actually go? So on the low, because I'm just wondering, is it the same distance as the dome? Like how long when it's on that with the ground level?
Well, it's on the ground. If it's even say it was about 6 foot off the ground, the radar horizon would be about 3 miles away.
Only 3 miles. That's interesting.
Yeah, because that is the distance to the horizon for someone that is 6 miles.
I would argue maybe water vapor could cause that, or waves from the ocean. It would be hard to tell. We understand
refraction. Waves can't cause that. It would ping back off of the wave. The fact is that there's getting no pings back, as though there's nothing there. The reason that's happened is because the radar is now going off into space, because it's no longer touching the Earth. The point at which we get pingbacks is the radar horizon. And if the radar is 6 foot off the surface of the Earth, that radar horizon is about 3 miles away, because that is the geometry of a planet with the radius of 4959.
No, that's really interesting. That's the first time I'm hearing that. I'm writing it down so I can research it later. But you do have a valid, you could say, globe evidence for what you just said. I agree with you on that.
I'd say it's a proof. Because it's mathematical.
If there's no other explanation.
There is no other explanation. There's no other explanation for why the radar would have a defined horizon, but be able to go further than that and ping things in the sky that are further away than the radar horizon.
Yes, I'll look into it and see what I can find out for sure.
Okay. Your 4 points were very, very disappointing, Stephen. Right. So, your firmament tracker app. What map is that based on?
The right hat on. Yeah, so the math of the firmament tracker's app.
What map is it based on?
The North Polar AE projection.
Right, well, we know that's not right.
What map do you think it's based on? Oh, you mean you don't think it's an accurate map?
No, that's definitely not an accurate map of the Earth. We know that.
I believe that's how the world really looks like. If it's possible,
well, it's not. I've tested. It doesn't look like that at all.
How?
Well, because when I was in the Royal Navy and becoming an artificer, one of my earlier jobs was to calculate fuel consumption for emergency diesel operations of submarines. And at several points across the world, I had to calculate and fill the sub with the exact amount of fuel needed for specific journeys. And that calculations were based on known distances on the globe Earth. I'd done it in the southern oceans. I'd done it in the northern oceans. I'd done it in the oceans around America. And every time it matched the globe. Not anything else.
Yes,
I know many people that have traveled end to end across Australia. Australia is not 3 times longer than it is wide. The polar projection map is a projection of the globe. It does not represent reality. The only thing it does right is get north to south distances correct. That's it.
So it's a projection of the graticule, not the globe. But to agree with what you just said, the distance, we can go into that after, but the distance measurements you made, I agree they're accurate. So
and they're based on the globe.
Well, no, they're based on the Haversine formula, but
which is the Haversine formula is just something you calculate with something on the globe.
Well, not really. So the globe.
The
is
Haversine
an
formula
oblique
isn't
spheroid.
just for the globe; it's for calculating distances on a sphere, right?
Well, we know the globe is not perfectly spherical. So if you're
Yeah.
talking
So
about
if you want to be completely accurate, you don't actually use the Haversine. You use there's a different name for it. But there's a different calculation that actually
we'll
takes
get
into
into that
account
in the
the slight
second
obliqueness
point.
of the Earth. But
Yeah.
the calculations that I used were based on the most accurate calculations of the globe. All right. The most accurate calculations of the globe, gravity calculations of the globe, underwater submarine cables, or
Well, I
matching
believe in
the
gravity.
difference of the globe. Well, no, you don't believe in
Flat
gravity.
model
You believe
requires
in a weird
gravity.
type of gravity that doesn't work. But I'll explain that why
Well,
in a bit.
Gauss's. Yeah, we can go into that later. Yeah.
Right. But everything that I done to test distances matches a globe and disproves that map as being a representation of reality.
Well, no. So on flat Earth, we use the Lorentz ether transform to have the account for the relative distance versus
No, you
the
don't.
actual
No, that's
distance.
ad hoc reasoning, and I'm not going to accept that. Lorentz transform does not change the distance of things on a flat plane. Lorentz transformation is what you have in relativity to calculate the difference in time or size of something that is traveling compared to you and your measurements that you would make compared to the measurements they would make on that object. Lorentz transformation cannot be applied to the differences in the size of the map to what we experience in reality. That is ad hoc fucking nonsense.
So I agree with you that it's used in special.
Oh my god,
for
shut that
all-day
fucking nonsense
experimental
up.
prediction.
Stop doing that. Oh, I agree with you, because you don't agree with me, Stephen. Right? That is sea-lining, and I'm going to demand that you cut it out.
Your premises are true, but your reasoning and conclusion is flawed. So
No, they're not. My reasoning and conclusions are true and correct. You are ad hocing fucking Lorentz transformation into a flat, stationary plane. That does not work.
I believe it does work.
No, it doesn't, because Lorentz transformation only works with relativistic speeds.
It also works with special relativity, yes. But it doesn't have to exclusively
It does not work, and it does not explain anything on a stationary Earth. You are ad hocing something that does not apply into it.
Well, I believe ether is contained within
ether
our
isn't a thing. That's been disproven.
No, only a rigid ether has been disproven.
No,
so stuff
ether,
like
the luminiferous ether has been disproven. There is no medium through which light travels.
How has it been disproven?
Michelson-Morley experiment.
Michelson-Morley.
Don't tell me you don't know what the Michelson-Morley experiment is.
Well, the Michelson-Morley only disproved the rigid ether. So
it disproved the luminiferous ether.
No, it only tested for rigid. But the second thing you mentioned, I don't know about it. So I'm going to make a note to check on that. As far as I'm aware, only the rigid ether has been disproven.
The luminiferous ether has been disproven. There is no ether. There's no evidence for ether. There's no test for ether. There's no need for ether. Ether is irrelevant to the universe we live in. You only need to use ether for ad hoc explanations like the nonsense you've just come up with. You are completely misusing the way that Lorentz transformation applies to anything. I want to be clear. You've just told me that you can use Lorentz transformation to make the map of the flat Earth that has things longer than they should be different to what they are in reality.
Yes, exactly that. So if you're up in space looking down, you're going to see Australia stretched out. But when you actually go to measure it, measure the same as the globe.
Right. Stephen, what you just said is one of the dumbest things that I have ever heard. At no point during your rambling, incoherent response was there anything resembling a rational thought. Everybody watching this stream is now dumber for having listened to you.
Well, I'd hope they'd research what Lorentz transformations are, how
my audience are aware of the Lorentz transformation because they came along with me for the research so I could dunk on Witsit.
So then this should only make them smarter.
No, listening to you only makes people dumber. Like, I apologize to my audience regularly for inflicting brain damage upon them. All right, guys, we are 1.5 hours in. In about 30 minutes, we will be doing questions. So make sure you get your chats in, or tag me, or at me on Discord, or X, or Facebook, or carrier pigeon, tie a note to a brick, throw it from my window, whatever works for you.
So the second point we're going to talk about is how you believe the North Polar AE projection is a projection of the globe.
Yes, according to Alexander Gleason's patent, which explains how it is a distortion of the globe. Yes.
No. So Alexander Gleason uses the Gleason map. That's not the
same thing
as
the Gleason map is the AE map. Yes.
But what you're saying is I could also make my own globe model, just put in my patent that I made this from whatever, and now that appeals to the globe itself. That's a logical fallacy understanding.
That's not what I'm saying at all. Do you know what a projection is?
Yeah, it's projected from a different source. It's not projected from the globe, though, is where I'm disagreeing with you.
Well, it is, though. Alexander Gleason's patent literally explains that it is a projection of the globe.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the Gleason map. I'm talking about the North Polar AE projection. It doesn't matter.
Right, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same map.
Well, no. What you're trying to
no, Stephen, stop. The North Polar AE projection map is the Gleason's map. It's the same thing. And Gleason explained how that map is a projection of the globe.
Yeah, Gleason's wrong. What you're trying to do is appeal to
his patent. You don't get to say he's wrong. His patent for it, which was accepted, says that it's a projection of the globe. So
you can lie in a patent. You can lie in a patent.
Oh, well, yeah, but if you lied in the patent, it would be rejected when people checked it.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you don't get to just argue with the person that came up with that projection and the patent.
He didn't come up with the projection. The North Polar AE projection existed before him.
Yeah, and
he might not know how map projections
and it's always been a projection of the globe. It's never been anything other than a projection of the globe.
No, so they're a projection of the graticule, which is not the globe.
Yeah, it's projection of the globe.
You might not know what the graticule is.
Yeah, we don't need to go into that. It's a projection of the globe, okay?
Well, no.
Yeah, it's a projection of the globe.
Of the graticule.
It's a projection of the globe. Stephen, you don't need to try and twist words. It is a projection of the globe. By whichever method, it is a projection of the globe, okay? It comes from the globe. It is a projection of the globe centered on the North Pole, distorted to turn it into flat. That's it. And it's been disproven.
No, so the globe is also
yes, it's been disproven.
Graticule.
It's been disproven.
Okay, so if you don't want to be explained how you're wrong in this,
I'm not wrong. It's a projection of the globe, and the AE map has been disproven as a flat Earth map. I'm not wrong. You don't need to explain it to me.
No, we're not
Your explanation is
map.
there, and I'm going to take a screenshot of that and make a video about how stupid it is, right? But we don't need to go into your twisting and misunderstanding of everything.
Well, no, you're irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. It is irrelevant. The AE map is a projection of the globe. It always has been, and it always will be.
No, you're saying the Gleason map is a projection of the
AE
globe.
map. The AE map, which is the Gleason's map. It's the same thing.
No.
Yes.
The North Polar AE.
The AE map is the Gleason's map. The North Polar projection AE map is the Gleason's map. They are the same thing.
They're not the same thing.
The North Pole, an AE map centered on the North Pole is the Gleason's map. They are the same thing.
No, the Gleason map is a map that someone made. He can describe it.
The Gleason's map is the North Polar AE projection map. They are the same thing. Stop making me repeat myself.
And it looks like you're not willing to talk about that. So it's okay
Stephen,
if you don't want to learn why.
They are the same. The Gleason's map is the AE projection map. They are the same map.
No, so one is a physical...
What do you mean no? They are the same. They look the same. They have the land masses in the same place. They have the oceans the same. They are the same map.
You're confusing the abstract concept with the implementation of it.
They are the same map. You take one, you take the other, they are the same. How do you not fucking get this? Jesus Christ, I have to take my hat and gloves
Because a mathematical formula is an abstract concept. You're getting confused on the different implementation of it.
The AE map is the Gleason map. They are the same thing. They have the land masses the same. They show the same thing. They are the same. Jesus fucking wept. How do you not get that? They are the same thing. Just because you say they're used differently, that doesn't matter. They are the same thing. The maps look the same. They have the same things on them. Yes?
Well, no, the AE is not a map. It's a mathematical projection.
Do they have the same things on them? The same land masses? The same oceans? Do they look the same? Do they represent the Earth in the same way? Yes or no?
Well, what is the AE map then? Whose implementation of it are you talking about?
It doesn't matter whose implementation, they are the same. The North Polar Projection AE map is the Gleason's map.
No, it's an implementation. The Gleason map is an implementation.
They are the fucking same. Do they show the Earth's surface as the same, yes or no?
Probably, yeah, but I don't know
Yes,
what
they do, because they're the same fucking thing. Oh my God. You are one of the dumbest and most arrogant humans I've ever spoken to. You lie about everything. You steal. You grift. It's absolutely disgusting. Like, you lied and stole Will Duffy's merch. He never gave you permission to use that. In fact, he specifically said that's not a good idea. He never agreed to it. He never said, yes,
During
I want to do that.
our live debate at the end, he did say it's okay.
No, he did not. No, he did not. No, he did not. I've watched that debate, you fucking liar. Not once has he said it's okay. Not once has he given you permission to do that. You have stolen his merch without his permission. You do that because you're dishonest and you lie about everything.
Well, no, I'm trying to help him because if he...
No, you're not trying to help him. No one wants your fucking help. Get that off. You do not have permission to have that. Get it off.
Yes, I do.
Right. No, you don't. You do not. He did not give you permission. He specifically said that is not a good idea. There is no way you could imply that as saying, yes, I want to do a partnership with you. You are a liar and a thief, and you should take that off fucking now.
So I'll go back and watch the ending of the debate I did with him. But as far as I know, he was okay with it.
No, he wasn't. He never said yes. I specifically asked him, and he never said yes.
Because the problem is, people are denying the final experiment, and that's a big problem within the flat Earth.
No one wants your help. All right? He said it's not a good idea. That means no, Stephen. No means fucking no.
You could be right, but I'll have to watch
I am right, and you should fucking take it off your website right now before you get your ass sued. You realize that? You realize that you are literally putting yourself up for a lawsuit?
Not really.
Yes, you fucking are. You're stealing someone's intellectual property and selling it as your own. It's disgusting.
No, it's not as my own. It's as Will Duffy's. This is for the final experiment.
No, you're selling it on your website.
Correct, and giving $5 of the profits to a charity that I told him I would.
No. All profits should go to Will Duffy. You should not be able to use. You should not be using that. You are a liar. He did not give you permission.
Confirm that. My understanding is that the final experiment was a community thing that we were all going to do, not just for Will Duffy to make money himself. That's why he didn't even want to.
The merch is very different. The logo and everything, that does not belong to other people.
No, but he's not selling it himself. My understanding
is... It doesn't matter. Maybe he doesn't want to sell it. He did not give you permission to sell it. All right? You do not have permission to do what you have done. You are a thief because of what you have done. And you know that. You damn well know that, Stephen.
Well, no. If I thought I could get sued,
fucking disgusting. Absolutely disgusting that you can behave that way.
Well, no, that makes no sense. If I thought I could get sued, I would never put that on my website.
Well, no, it's just because you're a pathological liar. And you really don't care. Like, now you know that you could get sued. Are you going to take it off your website?
I will talk to Will Duffy first and confirm if my understanding of our agreement is...
And now you know that you do not have the right to award yourself a doctorate.
Oh, no,
stop doing that?
No, I believe I still have a doctorate, but I'm going to clarify
that you don't have a doctorate. You don't have it. I explained to you the accreditation that you need, and you do not have that. So you know to call yourself as a doctor is a lie, right? You know that's a lie because I've explained to you why it's a lie.
It would be a lie if I said I had a government accreditation, yeah.
No, you do. If you're saying you've got a doctorate, you are saying it's accredited. You can't have a doctorate that's not accredited. All right? So now I've told you that. Are you going to stop the lie and take it off and stop calling yourself doctor?
Well, no, I don't believe you have the legal experience to know that for sure. I'll look into it myself.
I have checked this. I know for a fact that you do not have the right to call yourself a doctor.
I'll look into it and see for sure. Yeah, I do my due diligence. I just
No,
don't
you
trust
don't do your due diligence. You told me you don't do your due diligence because you only watch the bits of the videos that you want to watch.
In regards to space being fake, yeah, my assumption already is that space is fake, so I don't care to scrutinize every video I see.
Oh, right, yeah. So because you've already got your pre-assumption, you don't care to look at the evidence. That's what a liar
Not
and a
anymore.
grifter does.
Not after 10 years, no.
Well, you're wrong. Are you now just convinced that you can never be wrong? Because that's arrogant.
I believe that space can probably never be real if it's already been proven
But it is.
false.
We've shown that it's real. Space is just a low pressure system. That's it. I know someone personally, a good friend of mine, that sent up a probe and tested that space is real. Measured the pressure, measured the altitude, saw that there was no dome, saw that the Earth's curved.
He doesn't work for the government?
No, he's Mr. Sensible, a YouTuber and a friend of mine.
Okay, no, that's good evidence then. So I guess in terms of positive proof, if people like me and you can go to space and we end up seeing that it's a globe, then yeah, I'm probably going to believe in a globe.
Here's the thing, only smart people really get to go to space, unless you're famous. And Stephen, you're neither smart nor famous.
No, but even the tourism, once science advances to the point where regular people can afford it and we can get a consensus on the shape, that will be positive.
We've already got a consensus on the shape. Only 0.00001% of the dumbest of the population of the planet think it's anything other than the globe. The consensus is there.
But if it's only celebrities and elites and government saying it's a globe, that's not really a consensus.
It's not just celebrities and elites and government saying it's a globe. It's everyone with a functioning brain. I've tested, right? I have personally, Stephen, measured the Earth's rotation. Right? And I did that in my accredited degree, my first one, my physics degree, right? I measured the Earth's rotation. So did everyone else on my course. Not only did we measure the Earth's rotation, but we used the equipment to calculate our latitude on the planet. And we all got it right. Every single person that does a bachelor's degree, at least in the UK and the US that I know of in physics, measures the Earth's rotation with equipment they build themselves. So let me ask you a very simple question. How did I measure the Earth's rotation if the Earth isn't rotating?
So the firmament rotates at 15 degrees per hour.
There's no firmament. We've gone through that.
And also,
I was inside a building. The firmament had no way to affect the equipment I was using.
Well, the ether drift.
There's no ether. We've tested that.
But again, those are your assumptions that led to your false conclusion.
Well, no, the ether has been disproven. You're just saying there's an ether as an ad hoc explanation. There's no tests for ether. There's no way to test ether, so we can dismiss it. What we can do is make a prediction, right? Science again, Stephen. I know you're not familiar with science, but we're going to do it anyway, right? So what's our observation? Oh, the observation is that the stars seem to go around and then disappear and then go around again. Huh. Hypothesis. I'm on a rotating globe. Huh. How can we test that? Well, if the Earth is rotating, and it's the size we say it is, then that means there'll be certain effects, like the Coriolis effect. And we can predict that where and how strong this Coriolis effect will be to create the Coriolis force. Using those predictions, we can then create a device capable of measuring that force being applied. You do that with a pendulum. Very, very fucking simple. And then what you do is you see how much that pendulum drifts because the Earth is rotating whilst the pendulum is in free swing. And then you compare the drift of the pendulum to your latitude on the Earth. And what you can do is you take the drift of the pendulum, use Foucault's sine law, and you can actually calculate your latitude on the Earth. And this works wherever you are on the Earth. The only explanation for that, because there's different forces being applied at each latitude, is that the Earth is rotating. That is the exact predictions. There's no other explanation. I did that myself.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a valid experiment for that, yeah. I'll look into the Foucault pendulum more and see what the other interpretations of that. But the
other interpretations are ether, electromagnetic this and that. Simply not understanding the experiment.
They could be valid.
No, they're not valid. They're just ad hoc nonsense trying to dismiss very good evidence. So if the Earth is rotating, which it definitely is because I measured it, it can't be stationary, can it?
No.
Right. So we've established that the Earth is not stationary. Right?
No, based on your assumptions.
No, it's not. I didn't make an assumption. I've done an experiment to test and failed to
No, you said your
disprove the hypothesis.
assumptions were that you ruled out ether, you ruled out electromagnetism. So based on those assumptions,
I've tested. We know ether doesn't exist, so that's been ruled out. And you can actually control for things like electromagnetism by using very different materials in the different experiments. So it's fine. We know it's not that. So we know the Earth rotates, so it's not stationary. And the radar horizon shows that the Earth is curved and not flat. You even said that. That's the explanation. So, Stephen, you agree with me that the only explanations that we have for radar horizon is the Earth is curved, and you understand that the prediction of a rotating Earth is that you'll be able to use a pendulum to calculate your latitude on Earth, and that's what happened. And none of those have ever been falsified. So, what's the conclusion we can come to?
Well, I agree that in a theoretical sense, those are evidence for the globe. Absolutely.
Why just in a theoretical sense?
Because I never looked into the radar horizon to know the other interpretations. Again, I asked you
what other interpretations could there be?
I don't know. I told you this is my first time.
Why does that make it theoretical? Because you haven't looked into it.
Because there's many interpretations. There's not just only one.
How do you know there's many interpretations if you haven't looked into it?
Because that's how science works. It's inherently falsifiable. Any new evidence can overturn your hypothesis.
Yeah, but it's never been falsified. That's the thing. Never.
But again, I don't know that because I haven't looked into it.
Well, it's never been falsified. I'm telling you now that it's never been falsified. That's why we use radar.
Yes, I'm agreeing with what you're saying is true, and based on those assumptions, then yeah, it would point towards the globe.
Which assumptions?
Everything you said, that it's never been falsified, and
yeah, those aren't assumptions; those are facts.
I don't know that though yet.
Well, I'm telling you they're facts. I didn't make an assumption. I told you a fact.
But again, you could lie as well. Humans are fallible. But
I'm known to not lie. It's kind of one of my things. In fact, my problem is I suck at lying.
Like, but again, you might actually be telling the truth.
My wife would know if I lied instantly.
But so lying's a bad word. You might just not know enough, and you're just missing some information.
No. I've studied and actually researched, so I know the difference between us, Stephen, is I went to university and I studied and I researched. You didn't do those things. You've never studied, you've never researched, you've made assumptions and then lied about stuff, even though you know they're lies, which is crazy to me. I mean, you're clearly not intelligent because, I've tested that during this conversation, but you're also clearly a liar, and you know that you're a liar. And I don't understand why people would do that. It makes no sense to me why someone would gladly be a liar, knowing that they are a liar. Like David Weiss knows that he lies. He knows 100% that he lies, yet he does it gladly every time.
I'm pretty sure he also believes what he's saying.
Oh, no. He knows that it's a lie. He's been told that things are lies. Jaren told him that certain things were lies, and then he blocked Jaren, of course,
Yeah, that's not good. You shouldn't block people.
Have you got his app? Have you got Dave Weiss's app?
No.
No,
that's and I don't plan to.
Yeah, don't do that because then I would know where you live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, literally anyone that opens that app, I can see where they are.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of the security breach. We researched into it when it happened, and when I messaged Dave, I never got a response back right away, and he didn't seem to fix it in the first few months, and that was a major issue because of my background in computer security. That's a serious thing.
You don't have a background in computer security.
I do.
No, you don't. yeah, you don't. That's very clear. So one thing that we've got 15 minutes for Q&A, so I want to get into one thing. You have said that you know where the South Pole is.
The geographic South Pole or the celestial South Pole? The geographic South Pole is located here, roughly southeast of New Zealand.
And
that is the geographic pole where tourists would go, where they have that little pole you take photos at.
And how do you explain that then with flight times and everything? Because that wouldn't match on that map that you've got there.
So it's the same thing with the Lorentz ether transform.
The thing that doesn't make sense. Right, okay, so your ad hoc explanation of Lorentz transformation allows distances to be whatever the fuck you want them to be, basically.
In adherence to the etheric gradient of the dome. So if you're at the southern pole, it's going to be compressed more, and that affects the thing. But yeah, it's not
Why?
whatever you want.
What's causing that compression?
Well, the firmament. So I believe ether is contained within the dome. There's no ether outside above us. It's all within the dome.
But why is there a compression?
Well, I don't know why. That's like how creation works. It's just the effects.
Oh, right. So it's just magic then. Of course, we know why there would appear to be a compression or you know a stretching of things we observe moving away from us at relativistic speeds. We know why that would happen, but so for us with Lorentz transformation, we've got an answer, we've got a mechanism, but for you, it just happens because you need it to.
Well, because it's what we observed. We know how flight distances work, and we have to somehow compensate for that using the.
Oh yeah, there we go. You have to compensate for it. Yes, you do. If the Earth is flat, you have to make up some magical transformation that's not the way that it works. Like, you don't have Lorentz transformation on stationary objects, right? So let me explain this to you as basic as possible, okay? You get two things. One is still, and compared to that thing that is still, another thing is moving away really fast, like 3/4 the speed of light, right? Now, the people on that thing that's moving, if they were to measure the ship they're in, it would just be the same size that it's always been, right? But for the person that is still watching this ship go away, if they then attempted to measure that ship, for them, the size of the ship would have changed. And if they were to look at a clock on that ship, for the people looking at the clock on the ship from the stationary point, the clock would be moving at a different speed. But the people on the ship, for them, the ship hasn't changed and the clock is still going the same. And that is where we apply the Lorentz transformation, when there's a relativistic difference in speed between two objects. Not when
I agree.
it is stationary and we need to ad hoc our way into, like, explaining why magic seems to work.
I believe you can implement it in many ways, but I don't disagree that special relativity implements Lorentz transforms for all of its experimental predictions. That's actually one of the reasons I know that what I'm doing is real science, because special relativity uses it as well.
But there's no real science because you've got no way of testing or predicting what you're saying, or no mechanism behind it. There's no reason why a Lorentz transformation would happen the way that you are saying it would happen. There's no reason someone high above would view the Earth as different to the people actually on it. Plus, that would mean that your app doesn't work anyway, because the app is based on the Earth being that size. And if that's not the actual case, it's just a result of the Lorentz transformation. That means the light would also be after going through some kind of Lorentz transformation when the light is moving relative to the surface of the Earth, which screws up all your maths utterly and completely. Delete your fucking app, Stephen.
Very simple. So you could be right then. The point A to point B, let me show you exactly. So science hasn't advanced to the point for us to know exactly how the point A to the apparent point B works. I agree with you.
Yes, it has. You just don't understand. But science doesn't explain what you're trying to make it, because that's not what happens. It's impossible. It's a lie. There is no random Lorentz transformation. And it's not, science hasn't advanced to a point where we don't know why this happens. We don't know why that's happening because it doesn't fucking happen. You're just making it up. You want it to be this.
You can observe this though. Like, the final experiment proved exactly what I'm showing you here.
No, the final experiment proved that the Earth is a globe.
No, it proved that there's a 24-hour sun, and we know that.
That was the exact prediction of the globe. Your map doesn't make that prediction.
It does.
No, it doesn't. The maths of your map are all fucking ad hoc nonsense.
So you can plot an observer on my app, go past 67 degrees south latitude.
Yeah, but all the maths is completely and utterly wrong. Your map doesn't represent anything.
It represents the graticule, the same thing that the globe is a projection.
No, it doesn't.
But we went over this before, but I don't think we know what the graticule. So it's how longitude and latitude comes from. It's an abstract concept, and it's perfectly spherical. And that's important to understand because the globe is not perfectly spherical. It's a projection of The
Yeah,
perfectly
latitude and
spherical.
longitude isn't perfectly spherical, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, it is. The graticule is, yeah. You're thinking of it on the globe, and you're right. If you have a globe model using something like WGS84, and that's an oblate spheroid,
Yes. Yeah.
graticule is perfectly spherical, and it's separate from the surface you're standing
Yeah,
on.
and
You can
that's not
project
what the
it out.
maps are based on, so you're completely wrong. But anyway, we've tested to see if that map is reality, and it's not. The only way you're claiming it is if there's some magic transformation that doesn't happen in reality. So you're actually claiming that the shape of the Earth isn't what that map represents. It's different, but only looks like that to people that are really high up for some reason. Is that right?
I don't know how high you'd have to go to see a difference, but I know for sure if like it was possible to go up on the firmament and look down, this is what you would see.
Why?
This is the
So
accurate
what's the actual shape of the Earth then?
Well, that is the shape of the Earth.
Well, no, you said it only looks like that when you're really high up on the dome.
Yes, that's where we get into
because of Lorentz
relativity.
transformation. So what is the actual? So what when you're on the surface, what is it actually? Not what it appears to be.
So distances on the surface would measure the same as the globe. I agree with you on that.
No, but what shape? What is the map actually?
Well, this flat.
Well, no, but it can't be because you said it only looks like that from really high above. So if it is flat, what's the actual position of the landmasses and stuff?
Exactly like that. So
No,
Australia.
you said it only looks like that when you're high up on the dome. It's not like that in reality. When you're on the surface, it said it's not like that. So
measuring that you might be confused on what I said measuring, but when
so you're
up
saying this is
above,
what it actually looks
measure
like
that.
in reality. Yet when we
Yes.
measure it, it's different.
Yeah, because of it's a length contraction.
So that's not how that works though. Either
I know
so what is the
I agree.
actual the length contraction only applies to someone viewing it from a different perspective. The actual thing hasn't changed, right? There's a difference in what the observer and the actual thing is, right? So if the observer from the top of your firmament is viewing this, that will be different to what people on the surface are actually experiencing. So what are people on the surface actually experiencing?
Well, what I guess I'm trying to clarify is that from the
They
surface,
can't be
you're not
experiencing
able to
that.
see it.
That's not how Lorentz transformation works.
It's how it works on flat Earth. Yes.
No, it's not. That's an ad hoc nonsense again. That's not how
I know, we went over that.
Either it is that shape or it isn't. Which one is it?
It is this shape. Yes.
But you said it's not to people on the surface.
Measuring distances is not, no, but the actual shape.
Right.
It's
So
like Australia will still.
I take a ruler, right, and I measure Australia one way and then the other. Why is that ruler measured different to what is in reality then?
The length contraction.
But it doesn't actually contract things. That's not how it works.
No, but I believe it does. That's how we
No,
implement the
it
Lorentz.
doesn't. That's not. So it's not Lorentz transformation. You're just making up something else then.
Well, we implement it differently than how special relativity does. I agree with you.
But
in
it's
that
not
regard.
called, like, you are not talking about Lorentz transformation, because Lorentz transformation is not an actual physical distortion of something's size or shape. That's not how
I
it
believe
works.
it can be. Yeah.
No, it's not though. That's not what Lorentz transformation is. You're talking about something completely different. You're making up something else and calling it Lorentz transformation when it's not a Lorentz transformation. You have to make up so much shit to make the Earth flat. I can fucking smell it from here. So, how many of the final experiment shirts and stuff have you sold?
No one actually bought any.
None at all.
No.
You got proof of that?
I could, yeah.
Funny. Funny that none of your supporters bought it. Why would none of your supporters buy the thing that you're advertising?
Well, most people still aren't comfortable with the final experiment yet, and a lot of people are still denying it.
Well, there's a lot of people that aren't, though. Why have none of them bought
So
it?
my goal as the winner of the final experiment for the flat Earth side is to help flat Earthers understand that the flat Earth model requires a 24-hour sun.
No, it doesn't.
And
The flat Earth model
disproves.
disprove. If the Earth is flat, there can't be a 24-hour sun. It's as simple as that.
Well,
Unless you,
100%.
unless you have to lie about weird Lorentz transformation and stuff.
Well, no, we just use flat planar trigonometry, do a 24-hour visibility calculation, and it's very
Yeah, it wouldn't
obvious
be
that,
possible. The sun would be the other side of the Earth. It wouldn't happen.
well, that's where we get into the dome refraction
Dome
concept. So I
refraction isn't
plotted
a thing.
the
That's not a
observer.
thing. It's just made up ad hoc nonsense.
You don't believe it's a thing, but that doesn't
No, I
change the
know it's
fact
not a
that
thing because I understand refraction. I've studied refraction, and dome refraction, like you're talking about, just isn't a thing.
you need to get a
Right?
dome and shine a light through it,
And
like
here's the
people
thing:
like
no dome refraction will make the sun be visible at one place when it's the other side of the Earth and there's darkness in between it.
So that's where we get into the difference between the ground position, which is the top thing, and the actual apparent suns for the observers. So you only ever see the apparent.
The actual sun. Which just talk about the actual sun, right? If the actual sun,
you don't see that.
Yeah, you do. If the actual sun is the other side of the Earth, and there's darkness between the point where you're saying is the South Pole and where the sun is, then how there can't be light to go through the darkness and then be light again.
Well, that's where we get into the dome refraction researchers. Like you can see the photos
Dome refraction
here,
will not make light go through dark and then be light again.
I'm literally looking at someone shining a flashlight through a dome and doing exactly what you said.
Where's the dark bit in that dome?
Water.
Where's the dark bit in that dome?
The living water photo in the bottom. There's no darkness on the top dome. That's just with the sun turned off. Not with the bottom photo where living water has his.
No, there's no such thing as living water. There's no such thing as living water, let's be clear.
No, living water is the content creator. Again, stop the semantic fallacies. It's making.
It's not. I guess your fallacies are. Yeah, but again, the that wouldn't make light go through it and then shine on the other side. Half the world is in darkness. Half the world is in darkness at a time. That's not half the world being in darkness.
Well, it depends on the season, so I don't know what.
No, no matter. It doesn't matter the season. Half the world is in darkness at a time.
No.
Yes. Doesn't matter the season. 50% of the Earth is in darkness.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
So I strongly disagree with you on that.
I don't care if you disagree. The Earth is a sphere, and only half of it can be lit up by the sun. Half of the Earth is lit up by the sun all of the time.
No, so you can use sunanddate.com, something that
That's
you would
not that. Oh my god,
sunlight maps.
That's population, not surface.
No, it has a picture of the actual map.
Yeah, and it shows that half of the Earth is in dark and half of the Earth is in light all of the time. Oh my fucking god! How do you think light wraps around a ball and and shines around the other side? 50% of Earth is in darkness. 50% is in light. That's how it works. I can't believe you didn't realize this.
What you're saying makes sense. If you shine a light on a ball, what you're saying is true, but the Earth is flat, so it doesn't actually.
The Earth isn't flat though. In reality, whether it's flat or a globe, half is in darkness, half is in light.
No. So if you do an AE projection of the sunlight, you'll see it looks like this, and the reason it's even wrapping around a dome is an easy.
It doesn't matter, right? In reality that we live in, at any time, half of the world is in darkness.
I disagree with you. I'll make that as my point.
No, you don't get to disagree with that. Half of the world is in darkness all of the time. That's not something you get to disagree with. This is just a fact, like 1 + 1 = 2. Or 1 0 1 0 being 10 and not 4, you fucking liar.
You could be right, and if so, I'll admit that later.
Right.
But now I don't know.
The fact that you are arrogant enough to try and teach people when you haven't a clue about anything. Seriously, delete your app, delete your website, and stop fucking grifting and lying to people. All you are doing is trying to dumb down humanity. Because you haven't a clue about anything. You've never done any fucking research. You don't even understand that half of the world is in darkness at one time. You have never done any fucking research. Jesus Christ, I need a bong.
No, so if I was trying to dumb down people, I would deny the 24-hour sun, say the South Celestial Pole doesn't exist, say gravity doesn't exist. And you're right, many flat earthers are grifting and doing that, but that's where I tell
Right.
people what they need to hear, not what
Gravity
they want to
disproves
hear.
flat Earth because we can test plumb bobs and show that over distance plumb bobs diverge toward away from each other, leaning like this. So this has been tested, and I can send you all the documentation. But that disproves gravity working on a flat Earth. It shows if gravity is real, the Earth has to be a globe. Right? As a submariner, one of the things I did was tested the new navigation systems that the submarines were using called Gravity Gradient Inertial Navigation System, which uses the gravity maps we have of the Earth taken from satellites in space and compares them with real-time gravity measurements to avoid hitting underwater mountains. And we can use this and all the data provided to show again that the Earth is curved. Gravity proves 100% that the Earth is a globe.
How does it show it's curved? That's something new for me. I agree with the force of gravity itself.
Because it makes plumb bobs diverge. Stephen, if after this conversation you don't say the Earth's a globe, then you have to be a liar.
You said plumb balls?
Plumb bobs.
Bulbs. Okay.
Bobs. B-O-B-S. Plumb bobs.
Oh, bobs. Okay. Well, no, I'm going to research this and see. Like, I want to learn. If I'm wrong about something, I want to like figure out what I'm wrong about and get towards a more cohesive model.
We got a model. It's called the globe. Right.
But even in that, you can have a geocentric globe versus heliocentric globe. Like, it's not just that simple.
Yeah,
like,
but geocentric globe doesn't work as well. You can just check out my stream called How to Ruin a Geocentrist Day, where I absolutely fucking destroyed, again, another fake Dr. Robertson Jennis. That was fun. Right. Did say for everyone that the last hour is going to be Q&A. So we're going to do that. I'm going to read all the super chats. Some might be insulting towards you, Stephen. You don't have to respond to those, but that's just how it goes.
If it's a paid super chat, I'll respond to it. Don't worry.
Right, guys, if you want to ask Stephen a question, feel free to send a super chat and ask, or try and tag me or hit me up on Discord or something. Going to get through as many as I can. We've got Stephen for another hour.
Do you care if I go to the washroom?
Yeah. Okay, take a quick break and I'll say hello to everyone. Well, this has been a bit of a smackdown, right? What are you guys thinking? What a fucking liar he is, huh? This is just like perfect shorts content and stuff. The first 10 minutes just needs to go out as his own video, just proving that flat earthers are liars. Right? Amazing. Right. Why did 11% of you say I'm lying, you cunts? Okay. Start a poll. Does he have a computer science degree? Let's see what you guys think about him, if he's got a computer science degree or not. I do not think he does. Yeah, Glitch. 10 years of research and you haven't looked at plumb bobs, Microsoft Morley experiment, radar, the rest of the Katy Perry launch, etc. But 10 years of research. Yeah, I know, right? He's gonna go cry. Like this can't make him look good in any way, shape, or form. Unfornicated like that. If you beat a dead horse to make glue, what happens when you beat glue repeatedly? Oh, you guys are funny. Oh, thanks, Grudge. Grudge, I'm loving it. So, yesterday, guys, Jeranism and Spits It Gets It had a debate that was behind a paywall because Witsit is a grifter. But Toon's going to show you it all later and do a review. So once this stream has finished, all you need to do is stay in the chat and you'll be automatically redirected via the magic of YouTube over to MC Toon's channel. All right, Stephen. All right, let's go through super chats. Remember, guys, if you would like to ask Stephen a question, please feel free to send a super chat or ask in the chat. We'll see how many we can get through. Turtle Move says, will Craig go full FTFE? A little bit, yeah. War Boss, hey dude, haven't seen you in a while. Member for 27 months says, 2 years of crumping gits, loads of laughs, one new hut, and you still the biggest, baddest boss smasher around. You're never getting rid of me. Wah. Yeah, dude. Oh, are you looking forward to Henry Cavill's show? Dave McKeegan, £2 says, he's a doctor in the same way a fish is an engineer. Any thoughts about that, Stephen?
Was it a serious question? Sorry, I heard.
No, it was more a comment towards you pretending to be a doctor.
I guess the comparison is right if you believe I don't actually have a doctorate.
Well, everyone knows you don't have a doctorate.
It's an analogy that could be valid, yeah.
Monkey Cat Pat 49 months says dumpster fire incoming. Little Potato, $10. Even if not the acknowledgement of doctor carries weight, you haven't done the homework to deserve that title. It would be the equivalent of just getting medal for winning a race that you've never competed in. Thoughts?
So I would disagree. I believe that I'm one of the most senior ranking flat earth researchers. And to clarify, my degree is in geocentric cosmology, not biology or not earth science, for example.
You don't have a degree, so you can kind of stop calling it that. Would be great. Isla Let's, for 32 months, have been a member, says, Stephen, by calling yourself a doctor, you are doing the equivalent of putting on a uniform, rank and medals, when you did not even go to basic training. Yeah, it's kind of close to stolen valor.
Back into the same thing, private accreditations versus public accreditations.
There's no such thing as public accreditations. You've made that up.
Well, the government, that's what a public school is. They have accreditations from the government. They oversee their degrees.
Yeah, but you don't have any accreditations from anyone.
Privately, I do, yes. The Journal of Geocentric Cosmology oversees the degrees of the Flat Earth
Yeah, but you made that up. You made that up and accredited yourself. That's not how that works. They are not an accrediting body. They do not have the legal authority to give someone the ability to give degrees. Right? You're not a doctor. You don't have a degree. Stop saying it. Dihydrogen monoxide for £5 says, hey, fake doctor, I'm guessing you're anti-vax too. So what would you do if you were bitten by a rabid animal?
If I was bitten, yes, I don't have vaccines. No, I'm natural. But if I was bitten by a rabid animal, I guess I would search online how rabies works, see if it is something I would need to take like some type of medicine. Is this before or
after the foaming heart palpitations and then seizures that kill you?
So I don't even know if rabies is real. A lot of
rabies is definitely real. 16,000 deaths a year via rabies.
In animal, yeah. So the cause is not
in humans. In the US, there's 16,000 deaths from rabies a year.
And you're telling me that humans will also like foam from the mouth, like what animals do?
Oh, the rabies affects humans really badly. It's like watching someone have Parkinson's come on in the space of 24 hours.
Interesting. So I guess because I never been sick, I don't have a family doctor. Even in Canada, we never
been sick ever.
A few times, like when I used to binge drink as a kid, I'd get like alcohol sickness the next morning. But in terms of like
that's called a hangover.
Sick, yeah, but I don't really like. For example, I'm pretty healthy and I have a nice lifestyle. I believe that sickness is generally caused from the poison in the body. Recently, every day for muscle building, but at home I do calisthenics.
See those guns?
Want to see the guns? They're getting bigger.
Not bad. Actually, that's not bad, Stephen. I'll give you that.
But for muscle building, it's only my 7th day of going to the gym. So after this debate, I'm going to go to the gym tonight. So normally I was focusing on weight loss, maintaining a low body fat. So you could say I'm conditioned, where now it's actually like having an extra 1,000 calories a day, 4 scoops of protein powder. So in the next 3 months, you're going to see a significant difference in the proof of my little muscles now to 3 months after what I'm planning on doing.
You're not doing gym 7 days a week, though, are you?
No, I have a rest day. The gym closes on Sunday here.
You should really have 2 rest days. Make one of them an active. You should have 5 days and then an active recovery day and then a full rest day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I don't go like full progression every day. So if I do my biceps on Monday, the second day might be doing more volume on the biceps instead of strength, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you're right. Your muscles do need recovery time, absolutely.
Right, Icy Spin 199 says, Stephen, how does the sun go beyond the ice wall, Antarctica?
Well, physically, it never does. The furthest south it goes is the Tropic of Capricorn at about negative 23 degrees of south latitude. But if you're talking about how does light go past that way, you would want to, I guess, see how far. So we know perspective rises and falls by about 1 degree every 69 miles. So
What,
if you
now?
know directly above,
Sorry, perspective rises 1 degree every. No, that's not how.
It would rise 1 degree every 69 miles. You
perspective
move
doesn't
it.
rise or fall. Perspective is a linear line. The rising and falling of 1 degree per 69 miles. No. But the rising and falling of 69 miles is relative to perspective and actually shows that the curve falls away from the perspective line. You're applying that completely incorrectly.
There's 2 ways to look at it, right? There could be a curve.
No, there's not 2 ways to look at it. There's the right way. Well, maybe there is 2 ways to look at it. There's the correct way and there's the wrong way.
So I guess I also teach celestial navigation. A very simple
you do
way.
Not.
Polaris is 17 degrees from my horizon, and I need to go to 18 degrees north
please
latitude.
Do not teach anyone celestial navigation. Like, I've actually done 1,000 hours of practical use with a sextant in a sailing boat. I would not want you to teach anyone celestial navigation because you don't understand how the mechanisms behind how it works.
There's many ways to do it.
No, there's not many ways. There's one way to do celestial navigation. Do not teach people celestial navigation. That's just dangerous. You could get people killed, okay?
So you disagree then if I'm at 17 degrees for Polaris?
I disagree that you have the intellectual capacity to correctly celestial navigate, apply all the corrections that you need to, and find your location without dying, okay? Please do not teach people to do that.
Okay, I can agree that I teach an entry-level course. I agree
Just
that you
don't teach it at all. You will confuse people because you're not teaching it right.
Regardless.
Tim Davidson, $5.
South Celestial Pole. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Talk me through the algorithm for doing celestial navigation.
So I base it off of the North Celestial Pole or the South Celestial Pole. For example, the one
just celestial navigation in general. I'm at sea. I've got a sextant. How do I do celestial navigation?
So the way I do it is I brute force to find out where the 3-star fix would end up being. So if you ever seen a video I did holding the MC Tune Sextant Challenge, the way I did it was I plotted the 3 stars and then did the observer-centric calculations to figure out when the angle of elevation matches what I needed to.
Well, yeah, no, but I want to know the actual algorithm for doing celestial. If you're teaching,
I don't know how to do it spherically. No.
No. Just I'm not talking about spherically. Just the algorithm for the process of celestial navigation. You say you teach celestial navigation, so surely you know the algorithm, right?
No, I said I teach beginner. So you probably
the beginner part of it is learning the algorithm.
Well, no, it's looking at where the North Celestial Pole or the South Celestial Pole is and realizing that perspective rises or falls by 69 miles every degree.
No. You need to teach the method for celestial navigation, the actual mechanism. There is literally a algorithm.
There's a way to do it on the globe, yes. No, I'm aware of that.
There's the correct way to do it. There's only one way to do it that actually works. And I don't care at this point if the Earth is a globe or flat. There is steps that you do when you do celestial navigation. So let's say you're at sea. What is step 1?
Locate the North or South Celestial Pole.
No! You can do it with any star in the sky. Oh my God.
If you have an almanac, sure. But I guess based on people who would not have a celestial almanac, we know that there's a 1-to-1 ratio of the angle of elevation of the North or South Celestial Pole to your latitude.
Every celestial thing does. Oh my God. Right. Okay, so let's just say we're doing it with Polaris, right? So explain the method to do celestial navigation when you've got Polaris there.
Yeah, so let's say I need to go to an island at 20 degrees of north latitude, and I'm currently at 17 degrees of north latitude. I know my location based on the angle of elevation of Polaris.
How do you get that? Yeah. How do you get that angle of elevation? What are you doing?
So you'd use a sextant to look at Polaris, see the elevation. So if Polaris is 17
elevation
degrees
relative to what?
Just your line of sight. Like
oh
a protractor.
No, Stephen, how do you figure out the elevation of Polaris is compared to what?
Doesn't need to be compared to anything.
Yes,
the elevation of Polaris will always be
You
equal
have to
your
compare it to the
latitude.
horizon unless you've got a bubble sextant. That's oh my god!
Well, yeah, that's
You
obvious.
don't
I
know how to
agree
do
with you on
celestial
that. Yeah, you're talking
navigation,
about, like, the
Stephen.
tangent.
You don't know how to do celestial navigation. Do not teach people celestial navigation. You will get them killed. Oh my god! Like, what are the 3 corrections you need to apply to the angle that you get?
I don't think there's any corrections.
Oh
There
my
might be a
god!
slight
If you don't add
atmospheric thing, but to
corrections, you will die
approximate your
because you go the
location.
wrong way. You need to add your dip correction. You need to add your refraction correction. You need to add your correction for the actual equipment that you're using.
That's to account for the globe.
No,
Yes,
that's
if
to
you're
actually
gonna
get
use
where you. If you
globe
don't
method
do that, you don't get where you're going. It's not
on
to
a
account
globe
for the
correct.
globe. It's to do
On-
it correctly. If you don't do that, you don't get the right place. Oh my fucking god!
If we assume the Earth is flat, we don't have to do everything you just said. There's no need for dip correction.
Well, then, if you don't do the dip corrections, you don't get the right result. Stephen, every time, the only way you get the right result is to do the dip correction and stuff. It doesn't work otherwise. Oh my... You're an actual danger. Like a genuine danger. If you're teaching people celestial navigation, you will get them killed. Fucking cut it out. Mike Riley, $5, says, I saw this guy debate Will Duffy. There's only one word to describe this person. A shyster. That's a good word, yes. Any thoughts, Stephen?
So I'm not sure the exact definition of shyster, but I'm assuming it's synonymous to grifter. Am I correct in that term?
Yeah, it's a bit worse.
Okay, so I guess a grifter would be like what you just said, promoting that live Zoom stream for $65. Whereas me, my prices are very cheap. I sell a book for $50.
Why is it not
shipping.
free?
Well, because it costs money to print.
So
the ebook though, is $10.
why is the ebook
developing
$10? Why is it not free?
Because we have to pay our expenses. So I operate under
What expenses do you have for an ebook? It's free to publish on Amazon.
No, it's not, because then it'd be my personal name, my address, all that. So I use a complex corporate structure that I don't even know who owns it.
So you're a grifter then?
Well, no, I have business expenses. The Android.
You're a grifter. You're a grifter.
Apple
You're charging money
charges
for it.
me $100 to even make free apps for you guys. So you might not run a business and don't know how the real
Oh,
world
I run 2
works.
businesses, but you know,
Then you'd be
I
familiar
don't
with
lie to
expenses.
people.
I don't lie either.
But you said this isn't a business. You said this was, you know, supposed to be like to help people.
It's both. We don't live in a communist country, so in a
Why
capitalist...
don't you just eat the cost?
Well, I can't. Then that comes out of my own pocket. I don't want to go
Okay,
for
so
it.
make it come out your own pocket. Stop being so lazy.
No, I'm not rich.
Well, how much? A couple of £100 a month? Just do it.
No.
Oh, you're a grifter then. If you refuse to do that, and then you're just a
No,
grifter.
I'm running a business like anyone
Well, no,
else.
all the costs are now paid for. It's done. You don't need it anymore, right? So
No, it's not. So every year, there's the corporate fees. There's the Apple developer license fees. There's Android
How much are
license
they?
fees. I have several. There's hosting fees.
how much
So
are they?
Apple charges me $100 a year. Android charges me not $25 a year for Android. The
So
corporate fees
$125
are
a year. I'm sure you
$100
can eat $125 a year.
roughly $500 a year. Yeah.
I'm sure you can eat $500 a year. That's not very much.
But then there's my time as well. I have to spend time doing this stuff. Like,
So
other than that,
you
to
said
pay-
this is to help people.
do it.
Your time should be free.
No, that's not how the real world works.
Well, you do hobbies for free. You're just doing this to help people, so do it for free.
No, then you get a low quality product. For example, the Walter Bislin app is a perfect example. Walter Bislin did it for free, and that's why the result was just that shitty little
Walter
sun and
Bislin's
moon,
app is incredible.
Well, no, it's actually nothing compared to mine. So
Well,
mine has
yours doesn't make any sense and it is full of lies.
it's the exact same. It's the
No, it's
same
not.
concept.
No, it's not the same concept because his is based on reality.
They're the exact same.
No, they're not. You just said how they're not the same.
So what's the no? Mine has more features, but
Well,
my
there we go.
sun and moon-
Then they're not the same, Stephen.
the sun and moon in my app is the exact same as the sun and moon in his app.
No, they're not because his are based on the globe.
He hard coded globe math in because he's a
No, he
smart-
didn't hard code globe math in. He used globe math, and that's what was created.
No, but you don't need to do that though to
Yes,
get
you
the
do.
explanation. You don't.
You do.
You know the pattern of the sun every year. It follows the exact same pattern. He chose to put that in so when people like Shady St.
No,
Peter.
no. He
they could
did it.
control it.
He didn't choose to put it in. He put it in, and then that was the result.
Yeah, but I have the same result as well.
So it's not the same app if you didn't use the Globe Math. Liar again, Stephen.
Well, no, I never said
Gundoc for £2 says, fuck your fake doctorate, Stephen. Yep, you need to stop calling yourself a doctor because that is an outright lie. You need to stop it. If you're a decent person, Stephen, you need to stop it, okay?
No, for example, Dr. Zeus. Do we claim about Dr. Zeus?
Dr. Zeus is a fictional character. You are real.
No, he's an author. I'm pretty sure he...
Dr. Zeus is not a real person. He's a fictional character. Like Doctor Who. Did you just tell me that Dr. Zeus is a real person?
I assume he is. Let me just Google that.
Did you just tell me Dr. Zeus is a real person? Did you just tell me Dr. Zeus is a real person?
Theodore Zeus Giselle. That's the author's real name, yes.
He's not a doctor.
What?
Dr. Zeus is a fictional character.
No, he's an American author. Again, you don't know enough about
this.
The
author is not Dr. Zeus. Dr. Zeus is a fictional character.
Nope. I just Googled this now. Again, you and your audience.
The author's name is not Dr. Zeus. The Dr. Zeus is a fictional character that creates the books.
I know your chat seems to agree with me in this regard, but...
Like, it's a pseudonym. It's not his actual name.
Now you're changing what you just said, but yeah, I agree
it's fictional. It's not who he is. Like, he's not actually Dr. Zeus. He's not saying, I am a doctor. Dr. Zeus is the fictional person that exists that writes those books. Like, it's not his actual name, right? Yes, so there is a guy called Zeus, but Dr. Zeus is the fictional person.
So what you're saying is I should rebrand myself then?
Yeah, you shouldn't call yourself doctor.
Well, no, if Dr. Zeus can, I 100% can. I just don't want people to be misled, because then I'd feel bad.
Dr. Zeus is like, it's not his real name. And he doesn't tell people that he's an actual doctor. Like, you are telling people that you're a doctor. Dr. Zeus doesn't tell people that he's an actual doctor. Dr. Zeus, it's a pen name, a pseudonym. You know, it's an author's fake name. It's not a real person.
Okay, I can understand that.
Fucking hell. Right. JSS Tiger, $5. Mr. Alonzo, what is the street address of the main building of Flat Earth University that you show on your website?
The website photo is from Belize, but the only published address that we have is the corporate office in Wyoming.
Right, so the website is a lie, and that's a fake university on your website.
No, that's the real university.
No, there's no place that says Flat Earth University like that, is there?
I believe there is.
Where?
In Belize. So there's 3 campuses.
There was actual physical campuses?
Sure, yeah.
No, that's not what you told Will Duffy. You told Will Duffy that that's all just like stock images and there's no actual physical campuses. Why are you lying to me? Why are you making that up, Stephen? You literally told Will Duffy, no, there's no physical campuses. Oh, yeah, it's just like, it's the representation, you know, stock images, etc. So why are you now telling me that there is physical campuses of Flat Earth universities? That's not true, and you fucking know it.
No, I believe there's 3 buildings.
Show me them. Bring up Google Earth right now and show them to me.
Oh, no, that's the thing. So I agree that we'll never publicly give those addresses out. I agree with you on that.
No. Will asked you if there's actual campuses, and you said no.
Yeah, to simplify it, that makes sense.
So you lied?
Not really.
Yes, you did.
I didn't want to go into detail.
Is there campuses or is there not?
Yes, I believe there's 3 campuses.
Then bring up Google Earth and show me the campuses, please.
Well, no, because then we'd be doxxed. We'd have hate crimes, violence.
Sorry, a university that is public information would be doxed.
Well, it's a private accreditation.
There's no such
thing. So we're not
public,
no.
What are these campuses? How many people work there?
Well, I can't reveal that.
You're lying, Stephen. Why are you lying to me?
I don't believe
There is no campus, and you know it. You told Will Duffy, no, there's no campuses. There's no physical locations.
We might have been talking about the government of Argentina's building. thing that I
No,
had
no,
on my
he brought up the
yeah.
website and he asked you, is this real? And you said no. Why are you lying?
I don't think I am.
Well, you either lied to me or Will. Which one was it?
I don't think either. I believe Will and I were talking about the government of
No, you
Argentina.
were talking about, because you had the pictures of your Flat Earth University up, right? That I'm showing all my people right now, right? With this big, nice campus with the big cosmology thing on and the Flat Earth University plastered over that door. That's not a real place. There is no place that exists with that Journal of Cosmology symbol on and Flat Earth University written on that with this big building and campus. That does not exist, Stephen, does it?
I believe it does.
No, it doesn't. You're lying to me.
Yeah, no, I see that photo. Yeah, that's the campus in Belize.
No, there's no campus like that in Belize. That's a lie. You told Will that that doesn't exist, right? What if I found that picture and it didn't have that stuff on? What would you say?
Then I'd have to be lying for sure.
Right, well, let me just do save image as. And we're going to go in there. We go to TinEye. I'm just going to find out if you're lying. My keyboard battery just died. One sec. TinEye reverse image search. We're going to pop that picture in. Oh! Shutterstock. Huh.
Show it though on the screen. Don't just claim that without showing it.
Well, the only thing it brings up is this. Only related images are Shutterstock. Is that just a is it literally just a stock image, Stephen? Is that what that is?
No, show the stock image if you think it is, but I don't believe.
But it says the only related images are from Shutterstock.
That's how reverse images work. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no results for anything like that. You don't
Meaning
think that?
it's an original photo that I took of the campus. Yes.
Oh, you took that picture of the campus, did you?
Yeah, I live here on the Belize campus. Yeah.
You took that picture of that campus.
Absolutely.
Why are you lying to me?
I don't. I do all the
You told Will Duffy that that wasn't a real place.
If you click on the about or something, you'll see the photo that I believe I told him was fake, the government of Argentina building. But I will review the Will Duffy debate to even see if I can still sell TFE merch, but then also what campus was fake.
So there is no reference anywhere to a campus of Flat Earth University in Belize. No building registered. Nothing.
Not public. We're private property out in the jungle.
Oh, it would still be registered, though.
No, not at all.
Oh, no, are you telling me that the government of Belize are not aware of that building?
They're not aware of it under Belize accreditations. No, everything comes from the U.S. Everything's owned by the Journal of Geocentric Cosmology, a U.S. corporation that I just work for.
So you must be very rich if you own that property and stuff.
Well, I don't own it. I just work for the Journal of Geo. I'm just an employee.
So the Journal of Geocentric Cosmology doesn't exist, though.
It does.
There's no record of it anywhere.
Then you never searched. Again, you just don't know enough.
I've just looked. Why is there no records of it?
Well, check. Search. Go to the Wyoming. Search like Wyoming LLC search. And it'll be wild.
So are you saying that the Journal of Geocentric Cosmology has enough money to own 3 campuses that look like professional universities?
Yeah.
Really? And so where's all this money come from?
Again, I don't know. I don't own the company. I just work for them as a research scientist. So they have an EIN number, my pay stubs. I'm a research scientist officially.
No, you're not.
That's what my job title says.
Let me just do one thing a second.
But yeah, the corporation, it's all registered, good standing with the IRS, because I made sure to do my
Oh, Stephen. Oh, lovely. I just want everyone to see this. What I did just do was put that through an AI image detector. Likely AI generated, 99%. So that's a AI generated image, Stephen.
Well, there's no way to know, but
the AI detector detects AI.
Yeah, they can have false positives, yeah.
99%? Yeah. You're a liar, Stephen.
No, I believe it's real.
All right. PhD Tony wants to come in and ask you some questions. I just need to get through the super chats first. Gundoc for £2 says Moon's angular size changes by 12%. They're not equal. Yeah. I tried explaining that to Stephen that the Moon and the Sun are not the same size. Were you aware of the fact, Stephen, that the Moon's angular size changes by 12%?
I would not be aware of that. I would believe it's always the exact size.
Oh, right. So you've not done any research, I see. Little Potato, $5 says, we can literally see the position of the moon change. We can see the position of the moon change, but also keep the same face towards us. It literally proves the rotation. Yeah. You didn't know you didn't know that the Earth rotates in the globe model. That was fun.
So the moon could be concave or convex. I do agree
it's
that
not. We've landed on it. It's a sphere. I explained to you the proof of us landing on it. So, Sarah Jones, £2 says, ramp up FTFE. It's fun watching his points fail. Yeah, I know. This hasn't gone well for you, Stephen, I will say. Dihydrogen monoxide of £1. Thank you very much.
Great.
No, it's really made you look bad, dude. JSS Tiger for $5 says, Dr. Stephen, how is a latitude angle formed on a flat Earth? What are the vertex and the two rays that form it? That's the thing that you would use for celestial navigation.
I do not think there is a vertex or a ray. A latitude angle just has to do with looking at Polaris. Well, actually, the north celestial pole, to clarify, or the south celestial pole.
You do realize that to have an angle, you need a vertex and two rays, right?
No. So
but does that fucking...
You'll have a right angle triangle, sure.
To have an angle?
Yeah, there'll be three
vertex.
sides.
You need two rays. That's what an angle is. Dude, if you did computer science, right, then you did calculus.
Mm-hmm.
Then how do you not know what an angle is?
We don't do angles in calculus.
Oh my god, yes you do! That's how you figure out how to calculate angles to curves. Fuck me. I'm just catching you in so many lies. Sarah Jones for £2 says, I'm not a Freemason, but my rates are responsible. Ba-dum-tsh. Derek the Dullard, £5 says, can you ask Stephen if he recognises the signs of what a cult is, and does he realise that he is in one?
Yeah, I guess a cult would have a charismatic leader, someone who's really passionate when they speak, someone who believes their own lies, someone who is above average emotional intelligence.
So all of that apply to you apart from the above average emotional intelligence? A narcissist like yourself doesn't have above average emotional intelligence. They have the opposite.
So in regards to the flat earth cult, that's a very specific group of people who all say the same stuff. Now, I don't agree with the general flat earthers, so I would say that it's not a cult, no. At least not what I'm in.
So you say you did calculus, right?
Yeah.
What's the derivative of x squared?
Derivative of x squared might be something simple like 1 or 0. But I do have a James Stewart calculus book.
Might be something 0 like a 1. Something. Oh my god.
But again, this is 10 years ago. I haven't done calculus in a while.
Uh-huh. The turtle moves for £5. Steve, since 1961, radio hams have built and launched nearly 200 communication satellites. Explain how these are government and not private devices.
Sorry, repeat that. Explain how they're what?
Since 1961, radio hams have built and launched nearly 200 communication satellites. Explain how these are government and not private.
Oh, so the same thing. They'd participate in the meetings like the Bilderberg group.
You got no evidence that the meetings that are secret exist, of course. I mean, we discussed how that was a lie, and you said it again. So, I mean, you clearly don't care about the fact that you lie.
Well, I don't think you understand it.
Yeah, I understand it. Trust me. Ed209 for $4.99 says masters in Flerfology. I know, fucking nonsense. Derek Goddard for £2 says Craig channeling Professor Dave tonight. Love it. Yeah, dude, put that in the bin. That's literally all that's worth.
No, it hasn't.
I wouldn't wipe my ass with it. Michael Cooper for $2 says FTFE is close to coming out to play. I've let FTFE out tonight. Monkey Cat Pat Pat $2 says Stephen, explain sunsets and seasons on a flat Earth.
So sunsets is just an object going too far out of your perspective. A very basic example is if you're on a train track looking at like the trees, and they go down and down, even though we know the altitude never changes.
But they don't set, though. They never set below.
At a certain distance, I believe they would. Yeah.
Well, no, they don't. The perspective doesn't work that way. Perspective never crosses over the parallel. Train tracks never cross over. The trees in the distance, they don't set if the train track is perfectly flat. Also, your app says that you can have the sun the other side with darkness in between and still get light one side, which kind of blows your fucking sunset nonsense out of the water there talking about perspective. You can either have perspective or magic flurf bendy light. It can't be both.
Well, I think there is both, because perspective rises and falls by 1 degree every 16
No, it doesn't. Perspective doesn't rise or fall.
So Polaris is 17 degrees from my horizon.
Yeah,
here in Belize.
that's not perspective. That is the surface of the Earth you are on curving. Perspective doesn't make things rise or fall. Fucking me.
So in flat Earth it does. That's what we call perspective.
Well, no, it doesn't. That's perspective just doesn't do that. That's Flerfspective.
And then the second point, you said seasons, so I want to answer his question. Seasons, that just has to do with the ground position of the sun moving between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. If the sun's over the Tropic of Cancer, it'll be summer in the US. And when the sun's down south over the Tropic of Capricorn, it'll be the winter in the US. That's a very easy way to understand it.
Yeah, so basically where the sun is, it's hotter, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so why are the top of mountains cold?
I think that has to do with the atmosphere.
Well, no, it's closer to the sun, though.
Yeah, the same heat applies, but it has to do with, I guess, the air pressure going lower, maybe. I don't know the exact answer.
But you're closer to the sun, so you should be closer to the heat. Why don't planes like melt?
Well, the sun's 3,000 miles away, and a plane's only about 8 miles up. Not even 8 miles. Well, maybe 8 miles. That's about 40,000 feet. But the sun is 3,000 miles, so the difference in 10 miles...
You're still closer to it, though. Should be hotter, not colder.
No, the atmosphere overrides that by a lot.
Well, gradients don't make sense on a flat Earth, but it should be hotter. You're closer to the sun. It should be hotter. Penguin J for $2 says, ask him if he knows the 4 laws of Flerf. Do you know the 4 laws of Flerf?
I've reviewed them on MC Tune's website maybe a year ago, but I don't remember them, no.
You've hit all 4 of them, just so you know. Rachbot, thank you very much for your $2 super chat. Brandon for $4.99 says, this has to be some kind of humiliation ritual. Yeah, do you just have like a humiliation kink, Stephen, or?
No, I believe I'm a flat Earth scientist. One of the only few
such
people
thing.
doing research.
There's literally no such thing as a flat Earth scientist. Flat Earth idiot? Yes. Mr. Toffee's member for 41 months says, I've missed FTFE. Welcome back, bud. No worries. Gundog for £2. President does photo ops, so there's no government. Okay. Lord Lunas Pooh, $5 says, my brother's a Mason, grandpa a Knights Templar, and second cousin was in space. I can say the moon landing is fake. It's always up there and never landed once. He likes to tell jokes. It's probably over your head. Michaela, for 5 months, been a member, says, I'm losing brain cells. They're leaking out of my ear. Yeah, I get it. Don't worry. Brandon from 9.99 says, you can figure out where the dome would meet the ground based off of your height measured. How come nobody has ever touched the dome?
So you'd have to go to 90 degrees of south latitude.
Been there.
And it could be possible to hit the dome, yeah.
Yeah. Planes fly quite high around that area, and there's no dome, so...
I don't believe they go to 90 degrees south latitude. They might be at 80 degrees of south latitude.
Well, maybe do research. An actual doctor, PhD Tony, has a question for you. Says, why do you preface every lie you tell with, I believe?
Well, because I do believe it. Even if I'm wrong about something, it doesn't make it a lie. So if I find out the Earth is a globe, that doesn't mean I'm lying. It just means I didn't know enough.
Stephen, after 10 years, you're either too stupid or unwilling. Okay. Penguin J, $5 says, I have the answer. It's a leprechaun on a unicorn riding the rainbow. David Lee, 499 says, how is the goal it takes to claim you have a PhD from a university you started, accredited by a journal you started, not obvious? Yeah. How do you not understand how dishonest this is?
Because none of it's hidden. It's all public information that anyone can. And I think
But it's all a lie.
I never had anyone in the flat Earth community mention that. It always seems
that's because the flat earthers are all idiots.
To attack the source rather than the arguments.
You remember the thing I told you, right? All flat earthers are fucking idiots. It's just a fact. JSS Tiger, $5 says, not a Dr. Alonzo, do you believe you lie more than Dearth? Is your app more of a scam than his?
No. So my app actually has a free version that any of you can download right now for free on Android or Apple. So that alone says it's not a scam by default. But then there is premium features such as multiple observers. And like you can do what I was showing over here, multiple observers, which is something that the globe model can't even do. Which is something
I've got about 3 different programs that can show you multiple observers at the same time.
I would gladly like to see one because that's how I earned my PhD. My dissertation was on the multiple observers. And the best globe model I've seen is this one up here, Dr. Mark.
I've asked you to stop lying about having a doctorate. You don't get to award yourself a doctorate.
Well, that's how I got it. The dissertation is still the dissertation.
No, you haven't written a dissertation. Dissertation needs to be peer-reviewed in an accredited journal.
Well, the Journal of Geocentric Cosmology.
That's not an accredited journal.
I know where you're coming from. The bottom line, though, the best globe model I could find is the Dr. Marsh model, and it's only limited to one observer and only for the sun. So flat Earth models are exponentially ahead of globe models at the current moment. And that could just be because I'm such a good developer, or it could be that
you're not. You're a scammer. PhD Tony says, "Wow, free malware! What a bargain." Andres Eldritch for 20 secs says, "South Pole is latitude 90. What is the longitude?"
So because longitude is a continuous coordinate system, we have infinite south poles on the flat Earth model. Infinite south celestial poles too. I might have a quick little photo to show people.
Infinite celestial poles. Fuck me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was done.
Here, Chile and New Zealand. You can see the Southern Cross is oriented depending on the direction of the firmament you're looking at. So I would say that is proof of infinite south celestial poles because longitude is a continuous coordinate system. To clarify, though, the geographic pole is only a single point.
Unfornicated for $10 says, Stephen is an idiot. I'm a former USN cryptologist. Any chance you want to do a US-UK Navy stream one night? Discuss US-UK difference, ports, sea stories, etc. Emma, Michaela, and others were interested. Sounds fun, dude. Hit me up. Demoser for 15 months has been a member. Says he has a PhD in make-believe. 2 right. Gondok member for 2 months says, in 10 years, he's never heard of Michelson Morley or Foucault. Yeah, I know. This is Flat Earth research, guys. How come after 10 years you never heard of, like, the things that destroy Flat Earth?
Well, I've researched all the objections, and I believe that...
Clearly not. You didn't know what Michelson Morley or Foucault pendulum were. Dave D, member for 18 months, says, can we see proofs of his charitable donations?
Again, no one bought any of the shirts or hats, so... I probably could just take it off the website at this point, and it'd make no difference.
You definitely should, because you probably get sued otherwise. Gunduck for £2 says, oh my fucking god, this guy is surely not serious. Yes, he is, and stop calling me Shirley.
Yeah, I'm serious.
That narcissist. Rutasic UK for £2 says, which specific scientific resources will he use?
I usually use Google Scholar to find out academic papers, but it really doesn't matter. It depends, I guess, if it's actually true, because it's very easy to fake science. So just because something's in an academic journal doesn't mean it's true. It depends whether I've reviewed it and determined it to be true.
Just so you know, whilst we've been talking, I've put that picture of yours for about 10 different AI detectors, and they all say between 96 and 100% likely to be AI.
I'll take 96%.
So why did you lie and tell me that that you took a picture when it's clearly AI generated?
Because I did. So no, I don't believe AI detectors.
It's AI generated, Stephen. I've been actually looking at it quite closely. That person doesn't look human. That's clearly AI generated. All right?
The filters
right. Down. Why don't you just admit it right now that that's an AI generated image?
Well, I believe it's real.
What? No, you said you can't believe it's real. You said you took the picture.
Yeah.
But it's an AI generated image. It's not real. I've taken a close look. No. Anyone can actually see.
So, for example, an AI upscaler or the filters I used could be triggering those detections.
No. The whole thing is AI generated. That building doesn't even look real.
Okay,
Sarah Jones, who's been a member for 34 months, says, if you Google something twice, that's researched. If you also Bing it, that's researched from multiple sources. Flerfs logic. Yes, I know. PhD Tony for... Oh, shit, where'd it go? $5 Australian says, how does he explain the propagation of seismic and atmospheric pressure waves that circle the Earth source antipode back again multiple times?
I've never researched that at all. Repeat it once more, just so I can write it down.
Well, the propagation of seismic and atmospheric pressure waves that circle the Earth's source to antipode and back again multiple times. Dr. Apocalypse for £2 says, I'm more of a doctor than he is. Go full FTFE. He's a fucking liar, guys. Dihydrogen monoxide for £2 says, no way this fucker thinks rabies is fake. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
In general, I do believe most viruses are not real.
Well, then you're a fucking idiot. Viruses have been studied since the 1800s, with the first virus that appeared was actually a virus that destroyed tobacco plants. The first one that we identified, anyway. Crashes $5 says, what is the warranty on our oven mitts? Mine may need replaced after this. Well, I tried to make sure they were good quality, guys. MB Crafty says, remember, for 26 months, he's got to be trolling. This is ridiculous.
Again, if I was trolling, I would agree with every other flat earther. I would tell you there's no 24-hour sun, that the South Celestial Pole doesn't exist. I would try to deny gravity. That alone should tell you that I'm at least trying to educate my followers to the best standard possible that I can.
Except you've never done research, so...
That's not the point that was being made, though.
Yeah, but you can't educate anyone when you haven't done the research. Okay. Sarah Jones for $2 says, couldn't BS his way out of a bootleg TFE paper bag. Demoser199 says, Stephen, what time is it for you?
6:16 p.m. I'm in Central Time, so UTC -6.
David Lee 199 says, if he's a research scientist, I'm King Charles, Your Majesty. Yeah, you're not a research scientist, Stephen. Don't lie. Dihydrogen monoxide for £2 says, this twat probably thinks Minecraft is a globe. Do you play any Minecraft, Stephen?
Minecraft. No, I don't know.
I guess too complicated for you, I imagine. Too many menus and reading, like, must be hard. OG Yeti member for 25 months says, I believe in a billionaire. Money for all. Dihydrogen monoxide for £2 says, he has a PhD in getting the alphabet order wrong. Demoser 499 for FTFE. Compare the answer of his time to the campus location.
That doesn't even make sense. If I live in Belize and I'm pretending the campus is in Belize, they're both going to be the same. So I don't understand that question at all.
No, I do. And I'm going to actually put that in my video. Thank you, dude. I've just realised what you mean. Don't worry, Stephen. I don't think you'd understand. Slivery for £5 says, ask him which markup language he used to write his dissertation.
I know what he's asking. I forget. I haven't done a paper since TFE, but I know what you mean. It's the language to do the formulas and all that. If you see the 3 TFE submissions I used, there was a markup language for that. I know what he's asking for, but I haven't done a formal academic paper in a while.
You've never done one. JSS Tiger for $2 says, can I submit this to the Americans' funniest videos? Yes, you can, my friend. Bob for $5. Alonzo, based on your mathematical model, if perspective curves down, if an observer went 1,000 kilometers in elevation, looked straight down, what would be seen?
1,000. I guess so. 1,000 is roughly 69. Sorry, 100 is roughly 69 miles. So that'd be like 10 degrees approximately. So it depends what you're looking at. If I'm looking at
so they're looking straight down at the Earth.
What do you mean? So repeat that question.
So they're high up in the air, right? Your perspective curves down at 1 degree per 69 miles, right? So if an observer went up 1,000 kilometers in elevation and just looked straight down, what would they see?
Nothing changes. Nothing changes.
Why not? Perspective curves down, you said.
Yeah, but not based on elevation. It has to do with.
Oh, so it's only when you need it to. Right, I see. Icy Spin $2 says, I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? That was from my OnlyFans, right? OnlyFans after this, guys. Don't worry. Dihydrogen Monoxide for £2 says, he's the Gordon Ramsay of preparing Crayola meals. Slivery, member for 25 months, says the correct answer is latex, by the way.
Yes, that is how my papers were done in latex.
Oh, of course it was. Right,
you can see it. They're published on the journal's website. Search up the TFE publications. I know everything to you is a lie, Craig, but that's not how the real world actually works.
No, everything that you've said is a lie, because it clearly is. PhD Tony, we have 10 minutes, so I'm going to quickly bring you in to speak to him. Right, I've just sent my friend PhD Tony, someone with an actual doctorate, a link to join.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Yeah, someone who literally uses gravity as his job. Yeah. Guys, thank you very much for the support today. It's been absolutely incredible. Remember, after this, I think in about 40 minutes, Toon does his review of Gerrand and Witset's debate. So I will send you straight over there at the end of this stream. Tony, if you're there, join as quick as you can, dude. Dihydrogen Monoxide for £2 says, warning labels save him from natural selection. Yeah. Yeah, Stephen, you are the reason peanut bags need to say, warning may contain peanuts. Okay, there he is. Hello, Tony, my friend. How are you?
I'm okay. Craig, how are you?
I'm doing quite well, actually, yes. You feeling better, mate? I know you weren't that well last time.
Oh, I'm feeling a lot better today, thank you.
Good.
Just had some questions for your guest.
Please, go ahead.
Yes.
Who was your dissertation marked by? Who were your examiners?
So it's all private accreditation done by the Journal of Geocentric Cosmology. So I've reviewed my own dissertation.
So you awarded yourself a PhD?
Yes, when I first started the Flat Earth University.
But how can you be qualified to award yourself a PhD if you didn't yet have a PhD?
So it's in geocentric. So someone has to be the first start. That's a good question. Who is the first person to ever have a PhD? That goes back to any field of study, including yours too.
Yes, it does. But in our case, that was several hundred years ago, and actually, there was never just one. The universities had university councils where it was a communal decision. It wasn't just the decision of one person. You're taking this onto yourself. My next question
There's
is,
no other place to get a geocentric cosmology.
Who is the chief executive officer of this corporation you've set up?
I would be the CEO.
Okay, who is the chief operations officer?
I would be the chief operations officer.
Who's the chief financial officer?
I'm the chief financial officer.
CEO, who is the chief financial officer of your
I think you cut out
organization?
there. I said I'm also the CFO as well.
Okay, all right. I did cut out. Thank you. So, do you have any evidence that there is anyone apart from yourself involved in this enterprise on any level?
Yeah, so the public records will show the lawyer who legally takes responsibility for everything I do. It's a
So
Wyoming corporation that you can do.
so so that's someone you pay. Is he a flat earther?
No,
If
I don't
we
even
call
know
this
them.
person up and ask
So I just work for
okay,
the
so
company.
you misunderstood my question. My question is there another flat earther associated with in any way with this enterprise
No.
apart from you yourself in any capacity? Okay, so this entire corporation, this entire journal, this entire university is you, but it has 3 campuses.
Yeah, it's compartmentalized heavily, yeah.
What?
Compartmentalized between whom, sir?
So I don't actually know who owns the company. That's what I'm trying to say.
But you're the CEO.
You're the
That's a title,
CEO,
yeah.
sir.
doesn't mean
Who
you own it.
awarded you this?
So I can't say that. I do have a pay stub from the. It's through.
Why can you not say that, sir?
Well, I don't want to dox the owner.
Okay.
But shouldn't the owner of an
Getting back to
LLC
my
be registered?
question. So as far as anyone can tell, this is just you and you're making shit up. Are there any other employees
understand your
of the Flat Earth University? Well, it's not subjective, sir. I'm only dealing in facts. As far as anyone else can tell, as far as anyone external to your organization can tell, it's just you. Do you have any evidence that do you have any this is the other thing that I object to about you saying I believe. No one gives a flying fuck what you believe, sir. Absolutely no one. All we care about is what you have evidence for. And so far you have produced no evidence for anything other than this is just shit you made up. You can't even say I can prove that the photo I took was real, which you should be able to do. You should have the metadata for it. You should have the original document for it. You should even have the device on which it was initially recorded. But you have offered none of this in order to validate your claims. All you say is, I believe this photo is real, which is a really weird way of saying, I know the photo is real because I took it, which would be what a normal human being would say.
But then he'll just say.
So what do you understand? I have another question for you. What do you understand a journal article to look like?
You'd have your abstract, you'd have your methodology, you'd have the points you make, you'd have a conclusion. That's roughly the structure.
Okay. And you're claiming that you have published papers.
Depends how you define published, but on the journal.
I just asked you to define how you define papers, sir. I asked you to define that before I asked the question. You're claiming that you have written multiple papers.
Yes.
Whereas in fact your website just has a bunch of videos on it. Is this not the case, sir?
That is not the case. So on the Journal of Geocentric Cosmology's website, not the Flat Earth University website, but the journal, click publications and you can see everything there.
I did press publications. I did visit this website, and all it showed me was a set of links to various videos that you had done, some of which I know to be just interviews between, for instance, the discussion between you and Will Duffy shows up on that list. Would you agree, sir, that that is not an academic paper on any level? Then why is it under the publications list?
So in WordPress, when you make a post, there's only one section. You can call it whatever you want. So the publications are mixed in with the general posts.
So you
cut out there
skills to construct. Sorry, I'm frozen again. I'll just wait for myself to catch up. But you lack the skills. So you lack the skills to design a website under which you can separately list publications, because you understand that, for instance, Nature and Science, they can list videos separately from their articles, right?
I just didn't care enough to do it. Anything
you didn't care enough. Okay, all right. It's good to know that you're that professional. Okay, well, I think my question you've lied to my face as well as Craig, so you can consider your day well done.
Thank you. You too. I'm a huge fan of you. I've seen you on MC Toon and Craig channel. So yeah, it was nice talking to you.
Okay, one more point. Craig brought it to claim a PhD is in fact stolen valor, sir. Many PhD students die in the attempt. They commit suicide because of the pressure that they're under. It is not a trivial thing to lie about having undergone this process. I've known people who ended their own lives under the pressure of a PhD. You are claiming something that you yourself marked is equivalent to the incredible mental health toll that this takes, and it's pretty fucking shameful.
I can understand that. How you'd feel.
But you don't care to change it.
Okay, all right. Well, certainly not. He's certainly not. To be. If I may be frank, you can tell he knows he's lying because whenever he comes up with a lie, he says, "I believe." He puts that in front of it. It's what's called tell, and it's so that he doesn't have to produce evidence. And it's like I said earlier, nobody cares what anyone believes. All anyone cares for is what anyone has evidence for. And to claim that you know calculus, but that you can't do. The simplest possible differentiation is kind of weird. Also, to claim that there are no angles in calculus, the entire reason we use radians in calculus is to simplify the formula because the distance, the r theta term cancels out, right? You'd have to put a multiplicative factor in there if you were using degrees or gradients or any of those other angular measurement terms. So to claim that there are no angles in calculus, you, sir, just don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, I've said my piece. I think people wanted me to explode on this idiot, but he's not worth it. So I'll see you all later.
Thank you, Tony. Always a pleasure, mate. Speak soon.
Take care.
All right, Stephen. That's our 3 hours up. I just want to say that I hope you will take what I've said to you to heart and you will stop being a liar. You know that you're lying. Tony's right. You've got to tell. You say, well, I believe before you tell a lie because it's a way to get out of any responsibility of what you're saying. You know that it's dishonest and lying and frankly disgusting to pretend you have a PhD when you don't. And to say that you teach people celestial navigation when you don't know the most basic thing about it is something that could actually end someone's life. So if you are any kind of decent person, you will take what I've said to you to heart today and stop being the absolute cunt that you absolutely are.
I did take the points down, so I do got 10 points to seriously reflect on and consider, so we'll see.
Oh, I certainly hope that you become a better person because all I've experienced of you today, Stephen, is a liar. And someone not only lies, but tells disgusting lies that can harm other people. And I see someone that doesn't care that that's what they're doing. And that's not good. Be better. I don't think you can because you're in the cult. But we'll see. Anyway, coming here is probably a mistake for you. Bye. Well, there we go, my friends. Stephen Alonzo. Yes. They lie. Oh, Tony, no, you did not interrupt, my friend. That was perfect. That will probably be its own video as well. PhD calls out someone that pretends they have a PhD. I had a really good time with this debate. Getting Flat Earth debates is very hard lately. The Flat Earthers are running. I'm even considering going over to Nathan's channel just for the content. What do you guys think? Is that something that I should do? Oh, you guys enjoyed that then, did you? Yeah, I think I did everything that I needed to do in that debate. So, yeah. Well, everything he said was a lie. So, in about 30 minutes, it will be time for MC Toon's review of the Witsit Jaren debate. So make sure you stay in the chat and it will be sent straight over to there. Got a few more super chats. We've got Tyson Dog for $5 Australian says Sydney and Brisbane, Australia is 38.8 degrees and 27.5 degrees south latitude. What's the angle to Polaris from both if latitude is just the angle to Polaris? Well, he wouldn't know that. Sorry, I couldn't ask any more questions because I did only have 3 hours with him. Dihydrogen monoxide for £5 says this fake doctor reminds me of the Obama awarding Obama meme. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't notice that. All right. What did he say? The shadow on the circle on the building is going the wrong way. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. He's not wrong. Right. So, if we look at this, we can see the shadows going from the, this way to this way, off of here, down there. But we look at this circle up here, the shadow's on this side. For some reason. And that's clearly not a real person either. Yeah. AI generated image. Yeah, look at the flowers. They're all like blended together. Z Kane for $5 Australian says, could you please show us on your model Sydney and Brisbane and how the moon would appear from Brisbane while the moon is getting southwest of Sydney? Sorry, could not get any more questions out of him. Loop LPO on Fire, who's been a member 21 months, says, if he has a computer science degree, he'd be able to figure out WordPress plugins. Bob for $2 says, Craig looking fit, how much you down now? Right, I am about 84.6 kilograms. And I was 100 and... I always forget. Right, I was 140 kilos, and now I am under 85. Yeah, worked hard on that. F Grudge has won the crown today. He was in there farming earlier. We've got 675 XP from F Grudge. Second place, Clive Wells, 450. And third, my favourite Borg, with 325. Next stream, Craig will cover the mating ritual between two Flerfs. Lol. Right. On the 20th, I've got my debate on Sarah's channel. But I still need to do my review of my debates from DebateCon. So I'm going to try and fit those in. What day is it? It's Monday. Tomorrow's Tuesday. So I'll be back on Wednesday. Yeah, so a lot of fun coming up. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. It's been absolutely incredible. You lot rock. I love every single one of you. Just, not you, Gary. Yeah, Jaybird, about 170 pounds. But now I'm putting weight back on because creatine and protein. Like, this is medium top, guys. Look, belly's pretty much gone. This is from my appendix. When I was younger, my appendix didn't just blow. My appendix literally exploded, and they had to, the scar is really big because they had to cut out a bunch of my stomach and sew it back together. It was. I was very close to death, actually, with that one. But that is, I hate that because it's got this hangover bit because of where they sewed it back together, which even when I'm really skinny is still there, and it's annoying. No, they couldn't do laparoscopic because it was too late. The appendix had blown. and they had to get in there really, really quickly. When I was 15 going on 16, I was dating a girl called Rachel. And you know what it's like when you're at that age, is passionate. And I just started working at McDonald's with my mum while I was starting the college and stuff. And I'd had one day. And then the second day I was like, Mum, I can't go in. My stomach's hurting. And she was like, oh, of course, Craig, you're just fucking trying to skive off. And then I projectile vomited everywhere. And then they realized that I was actually ill. But I remember trying to go and see my girlfriend because I wanted to see my girlfriend because, but I could barely move, and then it was fucking awful. But because I wasn't yet 16, I was just turning 16, they put me in the kiddies ward in Southmead Hospital. And I didn't mind that because there was like video game consoles and stuff, and my whole band came over and we just like hung out and sat around my bed playing video games. It was fun. Yeah, Atomic Punks, the appendix was intelligently designed, everyone. Yeah, great fucking design. An organ that can literally kill me. Oh, right. Anyway, yeah, hormones and boogers. You're right. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Over on MC Toon's channel in 20 minutes, there's a review of the debate between Jaren and Whitsit. It's going to be a good one. But I'm going to go to bed. I want to thank you all for watching. It's been an absolutely incredible stream. This is the best time of my life doing this for you guys. I absolutely love it. Enjoy the rest of the night. Oh, JS, send me that to my email, fighttheflatter@gmail.com. Yeah, guys, enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy the stream over on Toons. I believe Max is also doing a review of this debate, so that's something else to watch if you want to choose. It'll always be available tomorrow, but make sure you subscribe to your bro mate as well. Remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth. See you all soon. Take it easy.